face. Glitch in the tree line, glow in the dark, searching for prints and a mist of spark. The fog is rolling in like a VHS tape, high speed chase for a shadow shape. Across the ridge, hear the elk call ring, the snap of a branch, the weight of a thing, a thermal heat signature lost in the gray. Whatever was there just faded away. Chasing the legend through a neon haze, lost in the woods for nights and days. The signal is peaking, the truth won't fade. Deep in the forest with Bigfoot face. West Coast stories. Never sleep, West Coast stories. The secrets we keep.
Hello, everyone. Today we have our special guest, Bryce Edwards, on the show. And we might have another guest show up that's a surprise guest, so we'll just have to wait and see. Just depends on the game when they get finished with it. But yeah, Bryce has been on a whole bunch of shows lately and has some really cool stories. So let's welcome Bryce. How are you doing today?
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm doing pretty good. Last I
Awesome.
checked, the Seahawks were winning, so that's good too.
Nice, nice. I haven't had a chance to check up on it, so it's good to hear.
Yeah.
And you've been on like a few shows lately. Did you want to bring up a couple that you've been on for us to check out?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I was on Bigfoot Society. I know that one's episode 977, and I've been on Tinfoil Tales, an Impromptu Truth, Bigfoot Crossroads, BMR, Paranormal Among Us with Paranormal Paul. Yeah, just to name a few. I mean that's a pretty good size right there. But yeah, it's
That's
been fun.
awesome.
Yeah, it still strikes me, like just kind of like fascinates me that people want to hear my story because it's to me it's like not not like an action adventure story like some of them you hear. So I'm like I figured that would be more of like the one people would want, but people like hearing what I got to talk about with what I've encountered and what my family's encountered out there, so I love telling it.
That's awesome. Yeah, if you wanted to get going, like I'd love to hear some of your stories, whatever you'd feel like sharing.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Okay, so as far as the Bigfoot stuff goes, um, I guess the first hand encounter I have, the oldest one, it happened back in 1963, and this was my grandma's encounter. So my dad, he was 5 years old at the time, and my uncle was probably one, and it was a summer day, and grandma had them out in the front yard, dad's playing around, all that kind of stuff. Well, um, she said that across the road there's a field, and our farm it's in southern Illinois, about 25 miles from the Shawnee National Forest, and it's 642 acres, and there's a lot of fields, but there's a lot of woods too. I would say it's probably 60% fields, 40% woods, something along those lines. But she said that across the road there's a field, and then there's a set of woods right there behind the field. She said that she saw what she called a honey bear come out of the woods on all fours at first. Then it stood up on two legs, saw them, and started walking towards them on two legs. Now, when I was a kid, I was probably 10 years old whenever she told me this story. So I'm just thinking like a brown bear, but there's no native bear population in Southern Illinois then or now. Occasionally you'll have like a black bear come migrate through going to Indiana or Kentucky. But as far as stuff that like stays here, no. And it wasn't until I was listening to Bigfoot Society, and it was an episode with this guy that went by the name Country, and he was talking about his sightings, and he used the term honey bear. And as soon as I heard that, the light bulb went off on Grandma's story, because what she said happened was she saw it. It stood up, saw them, started walking towards them. She grabbed my dad and my uncle and ran in the house, locked the doors. But then she went and hid with them in the closet until my grandpa got home from work that night. Now, if it's just a brown bear, you're not going to go hide in the closet, you know. And also, like, if it's a bear and it stands up, it's not going to just start walking briskly towards you like this was. So, you know, my whole thing with that, like I said, I was 10 when she told me, so I just thought it was a bear. But then 3, 4 years ago, whenever I heard that episode, realized everything that she had said was talking about a Bigfoot. So that was 1963. Now, when I was a kid, I remember hearing what I thought was just like other farmers that, had property out there working on their fence or building a barn, because I would always hear what sounded like a hammer on a wood. So, being a kid, I didn't know anything about tree knocks back then. So this is just a thought that, perhaps that was them doing that and just alerting each other that, like, hey, there's somebody walking through the woods or walking through the fields, because the way the farm was set up, where my dad's house was and where my grandparents lived, you could either go down the road and go up to like a semi main road and then walk down it to go to grandma and grandpa's, or you could just cut through the field and the woods and walk right in the back door. So that's what I always did. And it just, one of those things, like, looking back on it, it's like, don't know, could be, maybe, who knows. But it definitely makes me wonder now. And so 2015, my dad, him and my cousin Jerry, because Jerry lived out there, he's passed away since then, but they were over at Jerry's house on the farm, and it was about dusk. It was late August, and you've got birds chirping, insects making noise, and across the road from Jerry's, in the field over there in the distance, there was a pack of coyotes starting to yip, go yippee and all that kind of stuff. Um, anyways, so that's going on, and Dad says out of nowhere he hears this just guttural, like, shake your chest roar come out of nowhere, and everything went dead silent. Now, Dad, he had never really thought about possibility of Bigfoot being out there on the farm. Like, he remembered Grandma's story of the honey bear, but he was too young to actually remember it happening. And because I've asked him several times about it, and he just, he said that whenever that roar happened, like, it made the hair on his arm stand up, and Jerry too. And they just looked at each other and were like, what was that? Because it was unlike anything either of them have ever heard. And I mean, Jerry, all he did was hunt and fish out there. And then my dad, I mean, he's, with the exception of a few years in the late 70s, he's lived out there his whole life. So he knows all the local wildlife and the sounds they make and everything, and nothing added up to what they heard that day. So that's pretty crazy. And he called and told me, he goes, he's like, hey, he goes, this is going to sound crazy. He's like, but I swear, he goes, I swear I heard a Bigfoot roar on the farm. And I mean, 2015, like, yeah, by then I'm into Bigfoot and everything like that. But I'm not thinking Bigfoot in Southern Illinois. I'm thinking like over where you are in the Pacific Northwest. That's what I'm thinking. And I'm like, well, maybe, but now, looking back on everything and all the shows I've listened to, I mean, we all know Bigfoot's pretty well everywhere across the country, and definitely in the Shawnee National Forest, because the cool thing about it and the connection with it and the farm is a railroad track. There's this coal mine that's over kind of by the farm, and they had to run some train track through our farm to hook up to this other set of tracks that leads all the way down to the Shawnee National Forest. So what I am just thinking about is, yeah, this stuff's been going on for 60 years, but did they use, because those tracks that they hooked up to, they were an old set of tracks. So what I'm thinking is they use that as a way to come up here without, having to deal with humans, and, path of least resistance. So that's what I'm thinking with how they got there. I mean, I could be totally wrong. I'm no expert for sure.
Like
And
traveling down the tracks, you think that was their
yeah, yeah, just kind of
okay.
like a like what they like some people say like a Bigfoot highway or something like that, you know.
Hmm.
And I mean, there have been, I've researched it, and there has been, like trained um, engineers saying that they've had sightings of Bigfoot on train tracks before. So, I mean, it's not unheard of. And I mean, I don't know, because like now, see, we've had the farm for a long time, since the 1860s. And like when the coal mine came, they were trying to buy everybody out. Well, we weren't going to sell. So all the neighbors and stuff that lived out that way, they did sell. So, because we didn't sell, we still own all the property and everything. But all the people who did, their homes and stuff, after about a year or two, they got demolished. And then all that area has just, overgrown now, just trees. It's more thick and forest and everything. So with like a radius of like say 3 or 4 miles around the farm, there's nobody. I mean, well, I take that back. There is like one family that lives on this one corner part of the farm that like we don't own that 1 acre. Um, but I don't know who they are, and I've never seen them like leave or anything. I just know that there's people there, but they keep to themselves. So, but yeah, besides that, there's nobody out there. It's just us. And I mean, we've had deaths in the family and everything. So even with it being us out there, there's not that many of us out there anymore. Um, but it's just it's a pretty cool place, because there's there used to be 5 ponds on it up until the coal mine came. Now there's only 3, and yeah, it's just pretty neat, all the different stuff out there, because when you think about it, you think about, okay, there's all this game out there. There's plenty of water sources, plenty of cover, perfect area for something like these creatures to exist at.
So with the coal mines, I don't know anything about coal mines. Were you saying that when they come in, it adds more vegetation, or are they demolishing the area and taking more out? How does that work?
It just depends. Like at the coal mine, they definitely destroyed everything over there. And they built like their big slate piles and all that kind of stuff, or slag piles, whatever it's called. If there's any coal miners in the chat, they can correct me. But where we were at, it was just they tore the homes down, and then they tried selling property for like hunting or stuff like that. But as far as I know, nobody has bought any property out there. And I mean, that's fine with me because I like us just being the only ones out there.
Have you
But
heard anything about any of the coal miners like having issues when they were building out there, like their equipment being messed with or anything? Or
I haven't. I asked my cousin. Her husband is one of the bosses out there, and I asked her, if he had heard anything, and he said no. He said there was one guy that everybody always kind of thought was crazy, that said something about there's something big out there, but he never did like say what. Just said I saw something big out there, but I mean, who knows? But as far as he knew, somebody saying this is what I saw, or having a picture, video, any of that, no, nothing.
okay, but they thought they did see something big out there.
Yeah, the one guy did. I don't know his name or anything. And I mean that's probably like I'm probably that guy at my job. You know what I mean? The guy who likes Bigfoot and everything. But no, it's got its it's got its fun parts to it, because like whenever all this stuff started happening, and like I'm getting ready to get into my encounters and everything here in a minute, but it was just like there's what dad heard, and he would talk about it occasionally, and then we get into 2023 on Mother's Day. I was sitting there talking with my wife, and she wanted to go out to the farm and look for morel mushrooms. Well, Mother's Day is the month of May. There's not really morels out then, but I thought maybe on the off chance. So I asked my dad if he knew where any was, if they were still there, and he said, "Yeah, go behind Jerry's. You know, there's those stretch of woods back there." He's like, "Go over there and look along the fallen trees. If there's any over there, that's where they'll be." So I was like, "Okay." So we go out there, and the month of May, for some reason, it seems to be the kickoff whenever I start like noticing activity out there. Um, so we go out there and like you park at Jerry's place and you walk to the backyard. So you've got like, you know, your regular grass, and then you get to this area where it's all overgrown, probably about stomach high. And we're walking through there. Well, as we're walking through all that, I come up to this spot that at first I thought was just where like a bunch of deer had bedded down. But with what I end up finding in the field, I'm thinking it may have actually been like a ambush spot because it was a, you know, a good sized area where then all the grass was pressed down, and then you still had a bunch of tall grass around it before you got to the field. And the field, it had been disked probably within a week or two of us being there. And so my oldest son, he gets ahead of us, and he gets over to the field first, and he's like, "Hey Dad, I see some footprints." And I'm like, "What? Okay." So I get up there and I'm looking at these footprints he's pointing at, and I can already tell they're big, but I don't realize how big yet. I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, you know, maybe it was Dad because he said, you know, go over there and look and see. But then I was like, you know, it could be somebody who's not supposed to be out here because we have had issues with that in the past. And then I got up to them, and I immediately went right back to my car and grabbed my tape measure out of my glove box because these tracks were big. And not only that, you could make out the toes and stuff at the tip and everything. So I was like, you got to be kidding me. Because keeping in mind, this was the same spot where Dad and Jerry heard the roar, except that was across the road where it came from. So I measured them. They were 18 inches long by 5.5 inches wide. And I got a picture.
Wow.
I should have sent it to you earlier. I didn't think about it, but I got a picture of my foot next to it. I wear a size 13. And yeah, this thing just dwarfed my foot. And I mean, there was a set of them, probably about a 4 foot stride in between the prints, heading like cutting the corner of the field, heading towards the woods. So we start to walk in further to the field, like we're going to go into the woods, and we come across this deer carcass that, you know, unalived. But this was not like your typical, like, you know, it wasn't like a pack of coyotes did it. It, you know, because I've lived out there, and you know, anytime you come across that, the bones are just scattered everywhere. This was literally, here's the back half over here, and like 20 feet up is the other half, and it was picked completely clean except for the front legs from like the hoof to the first joint in the leg. That still had fur on it, but other than that, I mean, it just looked like something grabbed it. Like I said, if it came through that, what I'm thinking was the ambush spot, and grabbed it and just like broke its back and ripped it right in half because everything was still there. You know, like the head, it wasn't like something killed it, took the head. It was just literally grabbed, ripped in half, you know, and then picked clean.
Was there
So
still like meat on it? Like, was it eaten, or was like when you say it's still there, was it
it
eaten or
it looked like it had been eaten on, yes. And
okay?
like the where the fur was to where the first joint, so like say like the knee for lack of a better term, it did look like it had been pulled, like something like, you know, was ripping away the upper part of the leg. So I mean
And you
that
can tell
was
like the ripping part because it looks like the tendons and stuff were like more ripped versus like sawed or something like
right.
that, or chewed
Yeah,
at
and
like a coyote would.
like in like the rest of the bones and all that, like there was nothing. I mean, it was just the bones.
What did the head look like snapped or anything?
The way it was laying normally, but it very well could have been had its neck broken. I just didn't look that close at the neck. I mean, I kind of assume it probably did break the neck, but you could definitely tell where the back had been broken whenever it was separated.
Oh wow.
That's what I was looking more at.
Did you
So
end up getting
that
any like pictures of it or anything?
I didn't get pictures of that one because I just was like looking at it and I was like, wow. And then, it was like, everybody kept going into the woods. So I just went ahead and went into the woods. But when we got into the woods, right there at the spot that we were following those footprints heading towards, there, it opened up and everything. And up against that tree was a bunch of sticks that looked like they had been placed up against this tree with purpose. Now, they weren't very big or anything. They were only about knee high, but they were placed like teepee style up against this tree. And the way it looked too, it didn't look like, some wind blew some sticks up against the tree that way, or like, a branch broke and fell down and they landed like that. Like this looked like it was purposely placed.
This was right after the deer, like in the same
Yeah.
area, same
Yeah.
day.
This was all that same trip going into the woods.
And
And then
this
of
is
course,
on your
there was no morels.
okay, and that's on your property.
Yeah. Yeah. That's out there on the farm. Yeah.
Okay, so clearly it's like some person's not going to be out on your property doing that, right? Like,
If they did, they aren't very smart. But yeah, no, no, the
interesting.
way the way everything looked and the sheer size of those prints, like, and it was like you could see the toes and stuff. It wasn't like somebody out there in rubber boots just stepping in dirt and it was expanding. Like this was, you could see it.
Did you get and
Um,
you didn't get pictures of like the teepee, like or the
yeah, yeah,
you did?
I got pictures. Yeah, I did get pictures of that. I did think to get pictures of that.
Okay.
Because I was just like, by that point, I'm like, man, it's like every so many feet I'm coming up with to something next, something new. It's like, what's next? That actually ended up being it for that day. But yeah, it was just
If like
weird.
you wanted to get in there, like you yourself wanted to get in there and hide in that structure, would you be able to like get in there and hide in it, or was it too small of a
Oh
structure
no,
to
no, it was way too small. I think
Okay.
like talking with some people and all that, I think it was some kind of a marker, like
Okay.
either like, like, hey, there's food over here, possibly the morels, or just the game. Um, or maybe even a territory marker, but I think territory markers would probably be bigger. um, but yeah, I mean, yeah, there's no way that a person would fit in it. I mean, a squirrel might, but not a person.
Interesting.
But yeah, 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 and that was it for 2023. And I told my dad about it and everything, and he was saying stuff about, yeah, he's like, well, I heard that roar and everything. I was like, yeah, I was like, that was basically a straight line from where the roar was. And like where he told me this roar came from across the road from Jerry's, there was, or still is, but this like little like grove area in between two fields where there's a bunch of trees and stuff, and there's like a small stream that runs through there that eventually feeds down into Pond Creek. And he said that's where it came from over there. And it wasn't like it was a cougar or a bobcat or anything like that. Like he knows all those sounds. Um, so just, throwing that out there. Like I always try to debunk things before I ever go with, okay, well, maybe it is the cryptid or maybe it is whatever. Um, because like even with those footprints, at first I was looking to see was just somebody stepped here and it spread. Like, no, why would somebody be walking out here when there's copperheads everywhere with no shoes on? you know, it's like that's not going to happen. But so then in 2024, we'll go ahead and go to that. This is when I have my sighting. So I'm sitting there and I'm at the house, and my dad calls me up, and my grandpa, he was battling dementia at the time. He's since passed. But dad asked me if I could
Sorry
pick up
about that.
grandpa. Oh, thank you, thank you. Yeah, him and grandma both. They got dementia, and sadly, it got them. But they're in a better place now, and that's what's important. But dad asked me if I could pick up grandpa and bring him out to the farm to dad's house. And I was like, yeah, no problem. So me and my youngest, he was 3 at the time, we got in the car, went and picked up grandpa and headed out to the farm. So when you're going out to the farm, you'll take a main road to get out that way, and then you just turn off on some back roads, and the back roads take you to the farm. So I'm coming down the road that dad lives on, and getting ready to cross the creek. And like the bridge there, it's one of those old country bridges, so you got to go slow when you're going over it. So I was only going about maybe 25 miles an hour. And whenever you cross the bridge, you've got, the creek goes left to right. So you've got a line of trees following the creek, and then it's open field to the left, open field to the right. And the field, about maybe 30 yards past the tree line, the field starts to turn into a hill. Well, I catch movement out of my corner of my right eye. So I look over, and about 60 to 80 or 65 to 80 yards, um, at the base of the hill, I see this big black creature knelt down, digging into the hillside. And the arm movement's what caught my attention, because I mean, this thing was just digging in and thrashing its arm back. And like when the arm went back and like the hand opened up and through the dirt, that that was a big hand. But that arm was like, take like my arm, add another half an arm at least. I mean, this thing had the longest arm on anything I've ever seen in my life. It was solid black, like jet black. It did have kind of a shine to it, but I don't know, like, because I assumed it came from the creek area, because whenever I first saw it, I'm thinking, oh, it's wet. But I don't know, because like, how like sunlight will hit horses and how their coat will shine.
Yes.
It could have been like that, so it could have been one of those two. Either it was wet or it just had a shiny coat. But it wasn't like, it was not built like what I was expecting Patty, like a, it wasn't built like Patty. When this thing heard my car, it stood up and it started to walk further into the field. So I never got to see the face. Even whenever it was thrashing into the hillside, it would turn away from the road. And I mean, this sighting lasted only like 5 seconds max. But when I'm seeing it, it's like time stopped, like everything's in slow mo. So I'm just like, what? But this thing stood up, and it was massive, like very, very tall. And you could tell it had muscles and everything, like, like its shoulders and its traps and all that. Barely had a neck from what I could tell from that distance. The head was rounded, but it did start to look like it kind of coned at the top. Um, and it's like I said, it just started walking further into the field. And what I'm thinking is there's like a, if you go further into that field, you'll come to like a small little patch of woods that, I mean, it's like very small. And then on the other side of that is another field. But then there's a big set of woods that my dad calls 2 mile woods. And just because like the woods are like, 2 miles till you get to another road or a house or whatever. And so I think it went back there. But, I go ahead and get grandpa to dad's house because he just lives on the top of that hill. So that's only a quarter mile away. And I drop him off. I tell dad, hey, I just saw something really big out in the field. And he was just like, okay. And I'm like, no, dad, like big. And he's just like, oh, okay. Like he didn't really know how to take that, and he's trying to, get grandpa in the house, all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, I'm gonna go back down and see if I can't get a picture or something, because like people want to, dog me because, oh, why didn't you stop and, get your camera, you turn your phone on the camera or whatever and take pictures or video. It's like, no, I had my grandpa and I had my 3-year-old with me. Like, I'm not stopping the
Yeah.
car and all of that and getting out and everything else. Like, no, sorry. Um, and I mean, it's just, do I kind of wish I would have? Sure. But, you know, I'm not going to do that. I'm more responsible than that. But yeah, so I get back down there, and of course it's gone. And I'm like, well, crap. So I get home, I tell my wife about it, and she was like, well, we're going back tomorrow and you're going to go see if you can't find some prints or something. I'm like, all right, because she's very, very supportive of this. And she's pretty pumped about that being out there and everything too, because she's just, I don't know, she's a cool cat. That's all I can say. Um, but we went back the next day. What sucks is that it rained that night. So I was afraid that I wasn't going to find anything because of, the rain coming down the hill, the water, I mean, coming down the hill and washing stuff out. But it took me a little while, but I did find where it was at. And sure enough, I was able to get pictures of the prints and of the hole where it was digging at. And the way that the prints measured, they were 16 inches. So this isn't the same one that I found prints from the year before. And before I forget, this was month of May, 2 weeks before Mother's Day. So still, like I said, that month of May being when I find stuff. The hole, I could fit my hand into it, but you could tell that it had kind of collapsed down a little bit from whenever, it had been digging to that rain coming through. So I'm thinking, it must have been after some small burrowing animal, like, possibly a groundhog or a mole or something. I don't really know. Because I don't know why it would be digging in the hillside like that. I don't really hear much about Bigfoot doing that, really. Um, I don't know
Did
if you.
you went and inspected like you actually went up right up to that spot and were looking to see what was over there?
Yeah, yeah. I was trying to see if I could find like any game tracks or like just like a something, a deceased animal laying around or whatever. And
Were
that's
there any like tree stumps or anything where the grub could have been?
wasn't in tree stump, no. The grub idea did go through my head before, like maybe it was just digging for that. Because the way this thing was built, like I said, it didn't look like Patty. This thing was really slender. Like, have you seen the movie The Man Who Killed Hitler and then the Bigfoot? It's got Sam Elliott in it.
No, I'll have to check it out.
Okay, yeah, it's actually a really good movie. But the way they made the Bigfoot look in that movie, the way its body was, it was more leaner, kind of like a swimmer's build, where you can tell they're muscular, they just aren't big and hulking. That's how this thing was. And and that was why I'm thinking Bigfoot, I mean, the prints looked like Bigfoot prints and all that stuff, but I was just like, the body just looked off. So, like, I talked to a few different people about it, and everybody said to them it sounded like Bigfoot. So that's what I went ahead and went with because I was like, well, okay, yeah, I mean, I didn't see the face, but I also didn't see any pointy ears or anything like that for it to be a dog man. So I don't
Would
know.
you compare it?
But
I'm trying to look that up on image, and that particular Bigfoot from that movie is not popping up. So I'll have to do some more digging. But would you compare it at all to like a basketball player by chance?
yeah, yeah,
Okay. I hear
yeah,
that a lot,
definitely.
like a lot, a lot.
Okay. Yeah, definitely like the basketball player build. Muscular, um, tall, just not like the Hulk or something like that.
Kind of
So
slinky,
yeah,
like kind of like the Grinch, how the Grinch kind of has like some distortion to it, but it's like tall and slinky.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it was like
Yeah.
that.
I've heard that
Um,
description a lot from sightings actually.
oh, okay, cool. Yeah, because like the whole time I'm seeing this, I'm just like, what is that? But here's the
Yeah.
weird part. Yeah, here's the weird part though. Whenever I was like over there, in the field out there, and I was standing there, my wife told me that she could barely see me where I was standing at. I mean, I'm 5'10", and when I knelt down to take the pictures and everything, she said she lost sight of me completely because, with the coal mine and everything, it's not just straight, um, field right there, like flat field like it used to be. It's a little hilly in certain areas just because of like subsidence and whatnot. Um, but yeah, so she, me being 5'10", standing, she barely saw me. When I knelt down, I disappeared, she said. And what I saw was this thing kneeling down, probably like mid thigh up, and then it stood up, and I realized it was way bigger than I even thought it could have been. So I'm thinking, this is just my guess, this thing had to be between 8 and 9 feet tall, because it it looked so big knelt down, and then when it stood, it was just like, whoa.
And then how far is that, like that area from like where you found the prints? You think that could have been
Hmm.
connected, or are they kind of in two
Oh
different like
yeah, no,
areas?
that's just I would say no more than half a mile. Because it's like you get to the top of that hill, like there's Dad's house, and then 2 fields further down the road heading east is where Jerry's was. So
Okay.
I would say, yeah, I would say no more than a half a mile.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean I've heard different like colors and stuff, like the cinnamon, the bright red hair, the black hair,
hmm
like different colors for different Sasquatch and Bigfoot. Do you think that you're having different colored ones out there, like when you're saying your grandma saw a cinnamon colored one or a light, did you say light brown?
Yeah, she
Honey
said
bear, the
honey
honey
bear,
bear.
so I'm just assuming like a light brown bear. I don't. She just to her. Well, whenever I asked her about it as a kid, I'm pretty sure she said, it was a honey bear, and it was just, it was brown. It was brown and it was ugly. That's what she said. It was ugly.
Do you think she
But
saw something other than a bear, like now that you're seeing stuff?
oh yeah, I guarantee you, she's the. You got to figure too. The old timers and stuff had different names. Like we call it Bigfoot, Sasquatch. They called it honey bear, wild man, hairy man, all that kind of stuff. They had different names for it, boogers, all that. Um, I definitely believe that in 1963, Grandma saw Bigfoot for sure.
Yeah, and it's interesting to hear like, your reaction to when you seen it because I've talked to other hunters that have seen, Sasquatch and they kind of go, "Wow, what is that?" Because they really don't know what it is at first. It's so confusing. It's
Oh
not like it
yeah,
looks like what you would think, and they look so different, I guess, from encounter to encounter.
yeah. I was just like dumbfounded. I'm like, you got to be kidding me, like because like I'm looking at it and I'm just like in like awe and like trying to remember, hey, you got to drive and all that stuff. And it was just like, I mean, for me, it was, I guess you could say life altering, but I mean, it wasn't like it was in a negative way for me. Like I've been a big believer of Bigfoot for a long time. So this right here, seeing that was just kind of like my aha moment. Um, but yeah, I mean, it was just like, like you said with the hunters, you're just like, when you first see it, you're like, what is that? Because
Yeah.
like you're not thinking, even though I found prints and stuff, did I ever think I would actually see it? No, I never did, because that sighting happened in the middle of the day, bright sunny day, 3:15 in the afternoon. I mean, you know like, what are the chances, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So now that like at this point you're like, okay, they're out here, they're on our farm,
hmm
all these stories start to connect, you start connecting the dots. Did anything else kind of come to your mind, like any like slaps on the house or stuff that went missing, animals that went missing, anything else that you started to
there'd been
question?
Yeah, I mean, there'd been a couple times throughout, my younger years, whenever like a dog would go missing. um I always got told, oh, it just ran off chasing deer, never came back, something like that. And I mean,
Really?
maybe that is what started with it going off, but you know, these were dogs that were always outside, so I mean, it wasn't like they didn't know how to get home, you know.
How often did that
Um,
happen?
um, Only two, maybe three times, two times for sure.
Wow.
Whenever I was a younger kid, yeah, back in the 90s and stuff. Um, Now we used to have cows on the farm, and I don't recall ever hearing anything about missing calves or anything like that. Um, See, whenever we got out of the cattle business, because basically with everything going on with the coal mine, it was making it really hard to have cattle out there, because you didn't know if the ground was going to open up and all that crap. So what we ended up doing was we ended up getting out of the business, and dad and grandpa, they sold off the cows and all that. And then since then we have started renting the land out to these other farmers that'll come out there and plant the crops and all that stuff, and then we get a third at the end of it, of whatever they make on it. And so I mean, you know there's so much game out there that I don't really think they needed to mess with any of the livestock. Um, but the thing too, like, so okay, so I uh, I got this buddy that I made a documentary with. Well, I've made two with them now, actually. Um, his name's Joe Turry, and I've been friends with him for several years. And whenever I had my sighting, I was like, I'm gonna call Joe, let him know what's up, see if he wants to come down and investigate it with me, and because he does a bunch of investigation videos and stuff for his YouTube channel. And so I told him about it. He was like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "I'd love to come down there and like interview you on the location and everything, and then we could do like a daytime investigation or whatever." I was like, "Yeah, that works." Well, it took almost a year for our schedules to line up to be able to actually do it. So that ended up happening this year, or not this year, last year, 2025, and we filmed it. And initially, the documentary that's on his YouTube channel, it's called The Pond Creek Monster because that's what I've named the Bigfoot out there, just because that's the name of the creek, and that's right where I saw it, was right by the creek in the field. So I figured, do that, and there we go. But it ended up getting like, I think 12,000 views in the first month. So he decided that he wanted to do a full-fledged documentary for like streaming services and whatnot. And so I was like, okay, yeah, sure, come on out. Because I mean, Joe's got all the cool gadgets that you see on like the TV shows and stuff. He's got most of that. So it's pretty cool.
Awesome.
But
And I just let everyone know that that show that you're talking about, and I did watch it, is in the description of the show. I also just shared the link too.
oh, yeah,
So
that's cool.
if
I
anybody wants
appreciate
to
that.
watch that. Yeah.
Yeah, basically everything that I've talked about
Boxing.
up to this point is what that documentary is on the YouTube channel. Because after we decided, he said that he wanted to do the full-fledged documentary. Him and his research partner Jason, they came out to the farm. I want to say probably about 6 or 7 times last year, and we would always do investigations and see what we could get. And we got a lot of evidence. Um, I mean, we've got audio recordings, we've got stuff on film, we've got like IR camera footage of things. It's interviews, all that kind of stuff. It's pretty wild. There's even a guy that he lives down here in Southern Illinois as well. He's a biologist, and he used to be on the show Monster Quest, and he's in it.
Oh
So
wow.
I mean, yeah, yeah. His name is Ken Gerard, I think is how you say his last name. Might be Gerard. Um, but Jeremiah knew who he was. Um, and yeah, I mean it was pretty cool doing all that. So I'll go ahead and get into it. So we're sitting there, and I'm we do the first interview for the first documentary and everything for the YouTube channel, and we're out there looking around, and we didn't really find much of anything. And then we did find an old print. I mean, you could tell this thing was old. Measured it, it was 16 inches. Um, but what was weird, see, there's a pipeline that just like a natural gas pipeline that just got put in out there last year. So all those fields on the, what would that be? The south side of the road that my dad lives on, all those fields couldn't be planted or anything because of the pipeline being put in. So everything was delayed this last planting season. But so we're out there, and you've got the year before there was corn in that field, so you've got a bunch of old dead stalks, laying around and all that. But they're laying around in rows mostly. Well, I don't know how we didn't notice it whenever we first parked and got out of the trucks and all that stuff, but about maybe 30 feet, 40 feet from where we were parked at, there was this it was a bunch of the corn stalks like laid out in like a big circle, kind of like a great big Christmas wreath, and like probably about 3 feet in diameter. And it looked like there was another scrape into the ground there, but this didn't. It wasn't so much of a hole as much as just something was like you know, kind of scratching at the dirt. Really, um, I don't know. I thought that was weird. We got pictures of it, and we put the camera in there as close as we could. It was kind of hard to see it, you know, because like this was all like old stuff. It wasn't anything recent, but it was just worth, you know, taking note of. And so, you know, it was getting to be about noon. We got out there at like 8, and it was getting to be about noon. And because Joe lives in Springfield and Jason lives even further up. So, you know, they wanted to go ahead and head back. And, you know, he was like, if you come across anything, you know, send me pictures, whatever. He's like, I'll throw it in on the YouTube doc whenever it gets finished, you know, and we'll be ready to rock. I was like, okay. So they leave, and, you know, it's like another day or two goes by, and I'm listening to some podcasts, and I remember hearing this Native American on one. He was talking about, you know, if you want to go out and you want to have a positive experience, you know, you need to go out there, announce yourself, call them Forest Brothers, welcome them, let them know it's okay to be there and that you come in peace. And I mean, like every time I go out there, I never have any weapons on me. Now, a lot of people think I'm stupid for that, and I understand that, but it's working, because the first time I did this was whenever I went to go try and find some more prints and everything to show, you know, to take pictures of and give to Joe so he could throw it on that documentary. Um, I go out there to the field that I had my sighting, and I just yelled out, you know, hello, Forest Brothers, you know, welcome to the farm. My name's Bryce. You guys are more than welcome to make your home here. All I ask is that you guys respect our properties, and, you know, you guys be good with us, we'll be good with you. And I asked if it could, you know, if they, you know, heard me, if they could give me a sign of their presence. And so it's kind of like how you do in ghost hunting whenever you think about it. Um, but it was pretty cool because, like, you know, I'm out there walking around, and eventually I come across some more prints, and I'm like, oh, cool. So I'm taking pictures, and I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe that's the sign, you know, of their presence, because I just found some more prints. But then the sign of their presence happens, because coming from the creek, probably about, I don't know, I'm maybe, let's see, I'm right there in the middle of the field and the hill. So I'm probably about 20 yards away from the creek at this, you know, when this happens. You start hearing this noise that the only way I know how to describe it is it sounds like a belly growl, but that's your voice and you're mumbling. So kind of like a warble kind of sound, you know. Um, I know it sounds really strange, but I'm gonna go ahead and try and mimic it real quick for you guys, because you're gonna laugh. But this is what it kind of sounded like. Sounded like what I heard was just like like that, you know. And I heard that for like 10 minutes off and on. And I'm sitting there,
Oh,
and I mean, I'm
wow.
taking pictures. Yeah, I'm taking pictures of the prints and all that. And people are like, well, why didn't you try to record it? Well, if I turn my recorder on, you know, like how these things can sense, you know, trail cameras and all that stuff, I thought maybe it would know what I was trying to do and stop. And quite frankly, like with me, anytime I've had any kind of encounter, I'm in the moment. I'm not thinking do anything else, you know. I'm experiencing this once in a lifetime event, basically. And it was really weird, because, like, you know, and I even was thinking to myself, like, okay, am I really hearing this? Is this really coming from right over where the creek is? Because this past winter we had a big ice storm happen. So, you know, a bunch of tree branches are all broken. Oh, I just remembered something. I forgot to tell you. So whenever I went and I found back in 2024, whenever I went back and I found the dig site and the 16-inch prints, I followed them back over to the creek where it came from. And about 10 feet up in a tree, I found a tree branch that was broken down and twisted around 2 or 3 times, which, you know, a regular tree break is not going to, or like a, you know, like if something natural caused that to happen, it's not going to wrap it around 2 or 3 times like that. That tells
Hmm.
me there was something with a hand and a thumb and that was really strong that could snap that and do that with intention.
And
So
how
those
high up
have
was
to
that? You said
10 feet.
Okay.
Because
Wow.
I used to work at Home Depot in the lumber department, so I know what an 8 foot board looks like, and this was about 2 feet past that.
So when it was like twisted, was it kind of worked into itself, like tied almost, so that way the twist would stay? Or
Yeah, I mean, it looked like it was just like where it broke at, like say it broke like this, and then twisted around the rest of the part that was still attached to the tree.
okay,
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, and so I mean that was pretty wild seeing that. Um, but yeah, so I mean, that deal there with hearing that vocalization, I'm trying to think to myself like, okay, am I hearing this? Yeah, I'm hearing this. Okay, it's not a dirt bike off in the distance, like somebody, gunning it on a dirt bike or whatever. Because it did kind of have that, like, like how like whenever you hear one in the distance or something, how to have like that deepness to it, kind of like that, except think belly growl sound mumble talk. Um, but yeah. Oh, there's Joe right there. Hey Joe. Hey Joe, say your channel name so I don't butcher it again. But yeah, Red Room Films, Monsters and Lore, I think is what it's called. But yeah,
Okay, perfect.
um, yeah, he'll let me know if I get it wrong.
Yeah,
but
please share that, Joe. I appreciate it.
yeah, yeah. But nah, it's pretty cool because like that happens. So I'm like, all right. So then Joe and Jason come out again,
There we go.
and what Red Room Films,
Red Room
Legends and
Film.
Monsters. See, I still couldn't get it right. I've
Yes, and
done
that's
probably
one we
20
have
shows, and I
pinned at
don't
the
think I've
top.
ever got it right.
Everyone go subscribe to Joe Turi.
Yeah,
Yeah, I watched that. That was a good one.
thank you. Yeah, it was. We did. We worked really good on it, really hard on it, and I mean, Joe is just a master when it comes to all the stuff he does on those, like the editing and everything. Whenever he just sent me the opening scene, clip to it, I was like, wow, it's like a lot better than a lot of the stuff you see on YouTube. So yeah, I hope everybody checks it out and enjoys it.
Yeah, I
Um,
love that. I do some like AI intro stuff, and I don't know, that's fun and all that, but I love nothing more than just like authentic, good video skills from someone like him that can do some really nice, clean, just actually get out there and do videos. So yeah, I applaud people with that talent, and I always love that.
yeah. Oh, I mean, your AI stuff's pretty awesome too, though. Like I said, like that one you did for Paranormal Paul, that is killer. And BMRs, I mean, yeah. Texas is really good too. Um,
Yeah, they're all
but
fun.
yeah. I mean, you could tell that was like a labor of love, labor of fun for you because it's just like the way you just tell it was done. Wasn't a hurry or nothing. Like it was thoughtful and pretty, really awesome. Sorry, I'm
Thank
trying to
you.
get my notes to stay
Yeah, no
synced.
worries. Something I'd love to do in the future is get a drone and start learning drones and get into doing drone footage next. That's kind of, I don't know if that's something that you've thought about trying out there, but I want to try it.
Joe has, yeah. He had a drone
Nice.
out there that, yeah, whenever we filmed that first time, he brought his drone out there. And yeah, I mean, it was pretty cool because he had it pretty high up there. And I mean, I just looked like an ant on the screen.
That's awesome. I
But
love drone
yeah,
footage.
oh yeah, it was pretty cool. Um, so let's see. Okay, so we've done, like I said, we've been out there. Him and Jason have been out there probably 6 or 7 times. And we've had things happen. I always get which visit this happened versus happening on another visit. So I'm just going to say all the stuff we've had happen. um, so we've had um, what he calls a disembodied voice. I call it more mimicry. Either one, it works for both. Um, but we've heard a person trying to imitate an owl, or not a person, I should say, like something that sounded like a person, but no, there wasn't anybody out there. And it was like, basically like the 800-pound owl. Because you just heard this like, ooh, and it was like, what? But then, like 30 seconds after that happened, we heard this big belly laugh. All this coming from the woods. It was just like, I mean, but it was like the creepiest belly laugh you ever heard in your life. especially in the middle of the night in the woods.
No way.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It was like, I was sitting there like they heard it with their ears, and I'm running the parabolic, and I'm like, what? Yeah, it was nuts. That night, also before they ever got there that night, because this was crazy. So I got up there at the farm, like I think we were supposed to meet at 7, and they had some issues happen with trying to get up there with their GPS and stuff, and just we had equipment issues most of that night. But they ended up getting there about 8:30, but I was sitting there at 6:30 and I was talking to my dad, and because I saw him over on his tractor in a field. So I was over there talking to him, letting him know we were going to be out there. So if you saw flashlights or, heard people, it was us, don't shoot. And so, I went ahead and parked over across from his house, because that's where we usually set up at anyways, was right there. And so I've got the car parked. I rolled the windows down, turned the car off, and I'm just listening, thinking maybe I'll catch a call or something like that. Well, something even cooler than that happened. So I'm sitting there, and like the way I'm looking, like I'm looking south, and there's this field right there. It's shaped like a capital L, and in like the 45-degree angle part, that's woods. And I hear what could have only been one of two different things. It either was, you know, something big running through the woods, knocking down tree branches and possibly even small trees all the way through, running out into the field, or on a windless night, the top of a tree falling out and hitting every single branch on the way down to crashing onto the forest floor. And it happened twice. So I don't think that was, like I said, there was no wind. So I don't think it was just like the top of a tree falling out. And there was a bunch of deer in that field whenever we finally got out there. And they were all looking back at the woods. They weren't even worried about us. They saw us and could care less about us being there. They were all fixated on those woods. So I don't know. But to me, it sounded like what I've heard people describe as like, you've got like an elephant running through the woods or something like that. It, yeah, like I understand what they mean by that sound now. And that was pretty crazy.
Wow. Have you had anything happen to you like infrasound or like any kind of like loss of time or like body like hangover, injury, anything that felt off
Mm,
about any of the encounters you've been experiencing?
I haven't had any missing time that I know of. I've never felt sick. Like every encounter that we've had out there, it's never felt like I've never once felt in danger. Um, and I don't know if that has to do with the fact of whenever I, did the Native American thing and like welcomed them and let them know, hey, I come in peace. I'm cool with you guys being here, all that kind of stuff. So, because I mean, I don't think Bigfoot knows English, but I think that they can read intention, and I think they can understand that. And I mean, yeah, because like I mean, I don't even go out there with so much as a pocket knife, because I just don't want to give any inkling to them that I don't come in peace, because that could go really bad really quick. And yeah, so there's been times that my dad's had a lot of encounters out there, but he's never actually seen Bigfoot out there. But he has been whooped at. He has, like after Grandpa passed away, Dad started having a lot of bonfires at night out there, and he'd just be sitting out there by the fire, and it'd be 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, something like that. And I remember one time he was talking about he got whistled at, and he's like, it was a shrill like 5 second long whistle. And he was like, it just kind of just creeped you out, and you're like, ooh. I go, well, what'd you do? Did you shine your light where it came from to see if you could see what was there? He was like, well, hell no, I didn't. I was like, well, what'd you do? He goes, I just kind of looked over my shoulder that way, and just kind of kept staring at the fire after that. And I'm like, you didn't shine your light? And he's like, no. He's like, if I shine my light, it may scare it off. Like, it was almost to the point where like he seemed like he liked it to an extent because, he knew something was there. And I mean, it was communicating in a way. Um, I've heard whoops out there several times, with dad, with Joe, just being out there. So one time, my dad and me, I had borrowed his riding lawnmower, and I took it back out to the farm to him, and we were unloading it and everything. And I was getting ready to leave. This was probably about quarter after 9, maybe 9:30 at night. And he was like, hey, hang on a second. One of the boys left their soccer ball here. I'm gonna go grab it. It's like, all right. So he goes to grab it, and coming from behind dad's house, from where we were standing to where this pond is probably 400 yards, I would say, maybe 500 yards. Um, and all of a sudden, you just heard this faint, but you could definitely tell what it was. You just heard this whoop, and it sounded kind of female, feminine, um, because it didn't really have a lot of bass behind it or anything. So that's why I say that. Um, and like I was getting ready to get into my car, and I was like, "Wait a second!" I go, "Dad, did you hear that?" He's like, "Yeah, son. I told you I hear that stuff all the time out here." And I was like, "Oh wow!" I mean, that was earlier in 2025, whenever we started doing the investigating and stuff. Because like Dad, he's like my insider because he's always out there. I live in town, so I'm not out there as much as I'd like to be. But yeah, it's pretty crazy because there's been mimicry of train whistles, and I actually played the clip of the was it the Ohio Howls that Matt Moneymaker had, and he said it sounded a lot like that, but nowhere nearly as long. He said usually what would happen is, like the train would go through, and then about 10 minutes or so, you know, then you would hear something trying to do the train whistle. And, whenever it would end roughly. So it wouldn't be like how the train was. It'd be like, like train whistle sound and whoo.
Yeah, I feel that these are all really awesome stories and details. I feel like when you hear stories about the Sasquatch like living on people's properties, it can go so many different directions. I know that you're kind of more aware of them later on in life. Do you feel like they've been aware of you your whole life though? Like that's why they're so comfortable around you because they've been
I
watching you
think
this whole time,
so.
or what are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, okay, my thoughts whoops, kind of go off on a crazy spin, but yeah, so my thoughts on it is I believe because like in my family, like we don't really make daughters, we all make sons, and we're all kind of built the same and look pretty close to each other. So I feel like there's just a general familiarity with them knowing people are there, like the ones that
Mhm.
are there. And on top of that, though, so the land itself, before we ever owned it, that field where I had my sighting, that was there was a Native American like encampment there, settlement. I mean, they lived there, and on the other side of the road, which back then there wouldn't have been a road, but on the other side of the road, a little bit closer, further up the hill and closer to my dad's house, there was a fort that was built there. I'm not exactly sure when, but when I did a little research on it, um, it came back. Now I use Google, so take that for what it's worth, but it came back that that fort was one of the first forts built in America's expansion west of the Ohio River. And so you could kind of, put two and two together on why it was there. And I think after talking with some people, and I talked with a couple Native American friends I have, you know, they brought up the idea that one reason that they could be there is, and I mean, this is going to sound kind of out there, but it makes sense to me, that possibly they conjured the Bigfoot, like the forest spirit or like the forest brother to come or something like that. And that's why Bigfoot's there. Now I know that kind of goes on the woo, but like with me, I'm kind of leaning a little more towards the woo every time I hear something about Bigfoot. Like right now, I'm right there in the middle. I think that they've got their flesh and blood ones, and then they've got their ones that can, have special abilities, like maybe like their own, maybe it's part of like aging. The older they get, the more they are able to do more things, or there's just special ones versus normal ones. I'm not real sure. But
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
yeah. And I mean, because I mean, whenever I talk with them, and like these aren't just like people my age, like I'm 41, like these are like older people, like I think 60. And so I mean, they definitely know their own heritage and stories and whatnot. And they said that there were stories of things like that happening before, especially during those times. Um, so it's something I keep in the back of my head of possibly, but I also think about, they just came up the railroad tracks from the Shawnee. So I mean, there's no telling. Um, one funny thing that happened, my wife, she got a stick through at her one time. Um,
Oh
it
no.
was, yeah, yeah, it was actually that happened right after I had my second sighting, like within an hour. So the second sighting I had, I actually had a witness with me who saw it too, and that was Joe's cameraman. And so what it was, Joe and Jason were in in Jason's truck, and me and the cameraman, we were just sitting on the tailgate, and Jason was backing the truck out onto the road. So once he gets pulled out onto the road, me and the cameraman are looking down towards the creek. So keep in mind, we're probably a quarter mile away from the creek, but there's this very tall, solid black, slender built figure standing right there in the middle of the road, looking right at us. And the way, like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, do you see that? And he was like, yeah, I see that. He's like, is that a person? I'm like, that's too tall to be a person. Like, there's no way that's a person. Plus, if that's a person, they shouldn't be out here. And it just was like, you could tell even from that distance, you could tell that was not a person just by the height alone. And the way it was standing, it wasn't standing in like an aggressive posture or anything. At first, it was just standing like squared up looking at us, but then it kind of started to lean a little bit to its left, like it was trying to figure out, are we coming towards it or are we going to go away from it? And, we were going away because we were going over to this other area on the farm that we had a fire pit set up because we were going to do my wife's interview because grandma told her a bunch of stuff whenever she was pregnant this last time. Grandma would come over and hang out with her, help with our other two boys, and tell Amber stories about the farm and all the weird paranormal stuff that she had experienced out there. And she told her about the honey bear story and some other stuff. But so we're sitting there and like, of course, Joe and Jason got mad at me because I told them after the fact of like, hey, we saw it. But like I was in the moment and I had somebody else sitting right next to me seeing exactly what I was seeing. So it was like I was having my confirmation right there of like, yes, I'm not crazy. Like he sees it too. Okay, this is great. You know. Then they were like, like, why didn't you hit the truck or something? Tell us to stop. And it was just like, sorry, I was talking to him and looking. But so we get over there and we get everything set up, get the fire going. My dad, he ends up bringing Amber over, and we got her all set in a lawn chair next to the fire and everything. Jason's got the lighting going. Joe was kind of getting his camera sighted in, and then the cameraman, he had a smaller camera, just kind of walking around getting the like B-roll footage. And so Amber's sitting there, and I had the parabolic dish. Sorry. So I'm like scanning around, and Amber's sitting there, and I thought I heard some movement like behind us because there's, like I said, we had that ice storm. So over there, next to that fire pit over there, Dad had a big brush pile set up for all those branches and like small trees and stuff that fell and broke. And I thought I heard something, but it was like I heard like two steps and then it stopped. So I was just like, well, there might be something. I don't know. Maybe it's a deer, and I just caught it stopping. But it sounded bipedal because, like I said, I only heard like the two steps. So, anyways, I'm sitting there and I'm looking, just watching her. She starts to talk, and all of a sudden she goes, "Okay, who just threw the stick?" And we're all kind of looking at each other like, "What?" And she said,
Whoa.
she's like, "Yeah." She goes, No one threw a stick. Seriously? Like, she's like, "I swear to God." She was like, "A stick just hit me right in the leg." It was like, like above her ankle, like on her like lower shin. And what's wild, because none of us threw it, you know what I mean? But what's wild is Joe has her interview up on the like the members section, because we weren't able to actually use that footage because it's just like the way the fire was versus like the lighting we were using. It just didn't look right. But whenever he had it, he didn't realize it at the time. It wasn't until he was doing some editing and stuff, but he actually caught the stick come in and hit her. And it came from like, it
Whoa.
wasn't like it just dropped from like a tree and fell down and hit her. This came at from an angle and hit her leg. And it wasn't a big stick or anything. I mean, it was like, small, maybe the size of my pinky around. So, I mean, yeah, that was pretty wild. Especially like whenever I saw the video clip where it shows it coming in and getting her, I'm like, holy crap. And like whenever if you watch that video and you see her giving her interview, like you could tell she is visibly disturbed by what has just happened. Like her eyes are like, she's like, and like she keeps like looking around while she's talking, and like she's very uncomfortable. And yeah, I mean, that was crazy because like, you know, wasn't
And
expecting
that
that.
was now was that was with Joe Turi also?
Yeah, yeah. Joe,
Okay.
Jason, cameraman Russ, and me, and then Amber.
Okay. And then that was the same episode that we have linked to the top, or that was that a different one? Because he said something about an initial investigation
Oh
link.
yeah,
I
the
don't
initial
know.
investigation was the Pond Creek Monster documentary on his YouTube channel, and then the I think
The
he
stick
posted
one.
the her yeah no, the stick one, he posted in like the members section, because it's footage that I'm pretty sure, unless he changed his mind, I don't think we're going to use that because he reshot her interview during the daytime and got that footage there. But with that stick coming in like that, we might use it. I don't know. I'll have to ask him.
Did you guys
But
check for during that footage with the stick, any like kind of movement, like shadows behind the trees, or catch anything else?
the way the fire and the lighting was, like the only thing we could really see was her, and like behind her you could see like the table that was behind her. Everything else was pitch black because that particular night it was a lunar eclipse.
Okay. Do you think with that angle, like something could have been like up in a tree watching you guys, or do you think it would have been around?
I mean, I won't say it couldn't have been, um and especially if it was a juvenile, because the way that happened, that kind of makes me think juvenile, like juvenile behavior when it comes to the Bigfoot. um I'm not really sure, but the trees over there, they aren't that big around to where you would think it would support the weight of one of them. But if it's a juvenile that did it, maybe. Um, I'm not really sure. It could have, the way the angle and everything it came from, it could have been in a tree, halfway up maybe, or it could have been just right there, right by us, and we never saw it because it was so dark.
Okay.
I'm really not sure. Yeah.
And then T-Bone
Um,
says any attachments involved?
like spiritual attachments and things.
I'm
Um,
assuming that's what he means.
Not that I have noticed. Now there's definitely, ghost stuff going on out there. Um, like absolutely there is. I've seen stuff, I've experienced stuff out there. My dad has, my grandma, like we've seen orbs out there. Matter of fact, we got a picture of an orb on a IR camera, and or a night vision, one or the other. I don't remember. Joe, which one was it? Night vision or IR? and because he sent me that, and there's let's see, I know that like the house that Dad lives in, that place is haunted from by my great grandmother, possibly my great grandfather, and my great uncle. Just because after they passed away, my great grandpa died way before I was born. But Granny and my uncle Larry, they died in '06 and '07. And then my grandpa, which was, Granny's son, asked me to move into that house. That way somebody was on that end of the farm. And so I did. And yeah, there, like, you would hear footsteps in the middle of the night going from like a bedroom to the kitchen and back, um, which was weird because whenever I told Dad about it, he said that because Dad was like their caregiver overnight and stuff, we had a like a at-home nurse or whatever during the day, and then Dad would go over there and do like 12 hours of night shift basically. And he said every night that Uncle Larry would get up in the middle of the night and go to the kitchen and get like a something to drink and then go back to bed. And that was him still doing it. And like he even said, I talked to my dad yesterday, and he even said he was down in the basement and nobody was home, and he heard footsteps going from one end of the house to the other. And he's like, I got back upstairs. He's like, there's no one there, and the doors were locked.
Oh,
So
wow.
that was pretty. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, there's weirdness out there still. I even you know, I opened up a beer in there one time, and apparently Granny did not like that because there was this picture on the wall that went from being on the wall where it'd been for decades to in the middle of the living room floor. And it wasn't like it just dropped down and hit the couch and then went in the floor. It came from the wall to the middle of the floor right after I cracked it open. And I was like, I'll take it outside, and ran out the house. I was like, what the, you know, like, okay. And told Dad about that. Dad's like, I told you Granny didn't like drinking at her house. But yeah, it's there's definitely spiritual stuff out there. There is something else out there that I'm I struggle to say because I don't, it's hard to think that there's two cryptids out there, you know. But what Dad said, he saw a print that he's found before, right before the pipeline came in, and what happened with my little brother and the encounter he had. It's quite possible that there's a dog man out there too, but it seems to stay um, over in the north woods, northeast woods. I don't know. That's where he had his encounter at. My brother did. It. I don't like to talk about it much just because it's like people will be like, "Oh, you got Bigfoot and Dogman, really?" It's like I'm not saying Dogman's out there. I'm saying it sounds like it. And Joe and Dad and Jason got audio of what very well could have been a Dogman, because it didn't sound like a Bigfoot. You heard in this audio clip, you heard a pack of coyotes, and then you heard something deeper and longer howled. And I don't believe it was a coyote, or I don't believe that it was a wolf, because we don't have wolves out there. And I do not believe that it was a Bigfoot trying to mimic the coyotes. Now, I've heard Bigfoot mimic coyotes, but it didn't sound like what this audio clip sounded like. And my dad, he said, I was there's so okay. So Dad was telling me about, hey, I just found this really, really big dog print out on the farm. And I'm like, what? And he was like, yeah. He's like, it's over in the back of that field behind Tyler's house, which that's where my grandma and grandpa used to live. Now he lives there. Um, he was like, come out to the farm and I'll show it to you. Well, that particular week, I was working a bunch of 12-hour shifts. So by the time I get out to the farm, it'd already be dark. Um, so I didn't get to see it. And then that next week was whenever the pipeline people came through and bulldozed and all that through that area. So that print got destroyed. He never took a picture of it. And, but what he described to me was what looked like a dog or wolf print that was 6 inches, like around, and the biggest print he's ever seen in his life of a canine. He's like, he goes, and the only weird part was though it was just one. He never saw a second one behind it, to the side of it, anywhere. But yeah, he told me about that, and yeah. So whenever I had my second sighting and I was describing what I saw and everything to Dad, he was like, "Man, I wish you wouldn't have said that." And I was like, "Why?" And he goes, "Well," he goes, "I saw something walk by the living room window." He's like, "It's been a while now." He's like, "I've been sitting on it. I haven't, talked about it." I'm not even sure I'm supposed to be talking about it right now, but you know, sorry. um, but see, Dad said he saw something walk by the living room window, and it was really tall, thin, solid black. But he said the head of it reminded him of that Egyptian god, he kept saying. And I'm like, Anubis? And he's like, yeah, yeah, that one, the guy with the dog head, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm like, that's not Bigfoot. He's just like, I know. And I'm like, oh, okay. Because he would tell me that like every so often he's got two dogs in the house. One is this great big Saint Bernard, and then the other one's this like, I don't know what it is. It's a solid black mutt, but it's a cool dog. But like, every so often in the middle of the night, that dog will wake up and just start barking like it needs to go outside or whatever, but like kind of almost aggressively barking. And Dad'll let it out, and both dogs will go out there. And he said that every once in a while, that little black dog will make a beeline around the house and head like it's going down the side of the house where Dad saw this thing walk, and back over there. And he goes, sometimes, it'll go back there and it'll like stop like right at the last spot of light over there, and just bark a bunch and then eventually come back. Or sometimes it and the big Saint Bernard will just take off and be gone for a little bit until they come back. Um, but yeah, I mean, when I lived in that house, I always felt like there was something over there on that side of the house. And this was before ever thinking about Bigfoot or anything. You just felt like you were being watched, you know? And that window too, like there's not a curtain or anything there, not like a pull shade. It's just this window. It's an old house. My great grandpa built it like in the, I don't know, the 40s or 30s. Um, and yeah, it's pretty crazy. He told me that that window's probably the top of that window from the ground outside is probably 7 feet, I would say. And yeah, it just, I don't know. I don't know what to make of that, because I don't want to think that Dogman's out there, because everything I have found print wise, everything I've heard until I heard that one audio recording, all line up with Bigfoot. So that's why I'm saying I don't want to say I have two cryptids out there, but I think I have two cryptids out there.
And when you let the dogs out, are you just kind of letting them go out and then you see them when you see them, or do you kind of keep an eye on them when they're out there?
That's what he does. Yeah, he'll let them out, and usually he'll either stand on the porch or he'll be inside, like looking out the door, waiting for him to come back up. Um, he doesn't, like in the middle of the night and stuff. He doesn't go out there with them. He'll just let them out. But
Okay.
yeah, but I mean, like he's talked about before one night that him and his buddy had come by, and he had a side by side, so they were sitting in his side by side just BSing, and all of a sudden they heard this like screamy roar kind of sound, and something like slapped the side of the pole barn right there across the road from Dad's house. That's where the tractors are in. And like there is a hickory tree above that, like goes up above that deal. So sometimes, you'll have hickory nuts fall and hit the top of the roof and all that, and that's really loud. But that wasn't the sound that they heard. I asked both of them about it. they they both said basically the same thing. It was just like this weird, I don't know what it was, growling roar that sounded canine more so than anything else, is what his buddy said. And the whenever it slapped the side of the barn that time, like it slapped it and then kind of like drug its hand across it, so it wasn't just like it was like a kind of deal.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, so like creeped them out. And dad was just like, well, I'm gonna go in the house, and his buddy was like, yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. And they just went their separate ways.
They sure like to
When my
slap things.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Like RVs
um
and houses and
oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's weird. It's been strange out there because like dad always makes the joke of like, yeah, I used to like living out here and everything, and then Joe came out here and told me all the things to listen for, and now I realize I'm surrounded. But you know, he likes to make that joke every so often. But nah, it it's pretty wild because like you go out there, and it may not be every time you go out there you're going to experience something. But more times than not, when I'm out there, something will happen. I'll either hear something, find something, or a couple times see it. Um,
T-Bone had a question.
Oh yeah, sure.
He says, "What's your opinion on the Gugway?" I personally don't know much about the Gugway, but I don't know if you do.
Oh God, that is something I would never want to run into. The Gugwe, no. The
I'm looking
Gugwe
at
and the Genosqua are two types that I do not ever want to come across. They are like the baddest of the bad when it comes to the Bigfoot world. Yeah, no, I don't think that's what's there. Because if correct me if I'm wrong, T-Bone, but the Gugway is a lot bigger than a normal Bigfoot, isn't it? And it's got like a different style face too, if I remember correctly. But yeah, those are more, from everything I've heard about that and the Genosqua, they are not nice at all. And like I said, so far, just in the last 3 years, I've only been doing this researching out there for the last 3 years. And really only since last year, I've actually like really hitting it hard. Um, and everything's been peaceful. Um, I don't gift. I won't gift because I've heard too many horror stories about that whenever you forget to leave something out. And I'm not going to put, any of my family that's out there in danger by gifting and then not leaving something. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's so far so good. Now, if it ever goes the opposite direction, well, then it's game on. But I
nice.
don't, yeah, I mean, I don't think that's going to happen because I mean, if these things have been out there for at least 60 years, if not a lot longer, and I haven't heard one bad thing other than grandma getting scared whenever she saw it, you know, um, and I mean, she was one of those tough as nails old country gals, you know what I mean? So for her to get scared, it had to be, monstrous to her. I mean, me, I watch a lot of horror movies, all that stuff. So like, it's hard for me to get scared about something.
Yeah, and as far as like cryptids go, I know for me personally, I was into Bigfoot pretty heavily back in 2012 when my brother got me into it, and then he kind of started telling me like, "Oh, Bigfoot's real again" back last May. So I feel like I haven't been into this even a year, but it sounds like you've been into it, a lot longer. What are your I don't know a lot about all the different cryptids out there to be completely honest. So what
Hmm.
about you? You're pretty into like all the different cryptids and
Yeah, I I'm pretty well in, like Bigfoot's my main one. I
yeah.
like hearing about Dogman and stuff, especially if, there's one out there in case that is really what's out there too.
Mhm.
So, trying to do more homework on that just for things to look for, to be able to decipher, well, was this done by Bigfoot or was this done by Dogman? Um, the Goat Man, I mean, I'm very intrigued by those stories, but you don't really see or hear a lot of them. But like whenever you do, it's pretty neat because like I remember a few years back, driving through Kentucky. One of the places we drove through was Pike County. Well, they have a goat man story from Pike County. So, that was just kind of neat to be in that area. But yeah, I mean, I know a little about a lot of them, but I wouldn't say I know a lot about any of them. you know.
Yeah, is that something that you're wanting to like research and learn more about going forward, or you wanting to stay more in the Bigfoot stuff because of your access to that, or you wanting to branch out?
Um, well, I mean, yeah, Bigfoot will always be my main focus because like I am going to be starting a YouTube channel soon. I
Nice.
figured why not? I got all this going on out there, get a GoPro strapped to me, put a gimbal on the back, go out there and see what happens. And, maybe I'll get lucky like Scott Carpenter did and something will poke its head out as I walk by or something like that. And the gimbal on the back will catch it. Um, you know, um, that's what I'm going to do. Um, I know you already know about that because we were talking yesterday about it, but yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
wanted you to kind of say what you feel like comfortable with saying.
oh yeah. I won't say the name yet because I've got to get everything finalized, but it's gonna be pretty sweet, and the artwork and all that's awesome. But
Nice.
yeah, the focus will definitely be like talking about my experiences, doing investigation videos, maybe the occasional live stream with a guest. That's what I'm gonna try to do. But really, it's just gonna be mainly to me, anyways. It's gonna be a place where I can just put my videos of me being out there, looking around, seeing what I can find, if I can find anything. Um, and then that's just a place where everything's documented, and there you go. People want to look at it, cool. Um, yeah. So before I forget, me and my wife were out there on the farm just this past November on her birthday, and we did have something pretty creepy happen then. So again, though, I didn't feel in danger. I was just on alert. But it was her birthday, and she wanted to have a bonfire out there on the farm. It was November 23rd of last year, and so that particular day, it was super foggy all day. And if Paul's watching, I told him about this because I was on his show like right after this happened. And he can confirm that day it was foggy even in St. Louis. Um, but so we go out there and it's about 4:30 when we get there. Dad already had the fire going for us because I talked to him earlier. And he's out there hanging out with us, and then he decides to go inside because I think he was going to go eat dinner or something like that. Anyways, we're sitting there, and here in Southern Illinois, whenever in the winter, it gets dark about 5 o'clock. So we're sitting there, and it's probably about 5:45, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we hear this what to me sounded like a woman screaming bloody murder for like a solid 8 to 10 seconds. And then when it ended ape like.
Oh
And
wow.
this, like, I know that, male deer can make a similar sound. I know bobcats, um, I think even groundhogs make similar sounds, but none of them had the lung capacity because you could tell this was coming from really far away from where we were sitting. But yeah, like strong enough to where like it startled us both. Like she was like, "Did you hear that?" I'm like, "Yeah, I did. I'm glad you did too." And she's like, "What was that?" I'm like, "What do you think? I don't know." I mean, I'm looking over there because I'm like, where we were sitting at and the direction and everything that it sounded like it was coming from, it sounded like it was coming from over in that field where I found the 18-inch prints.
Oh wow.
And yeah, and if not further than that, even, but I'm pretty sure it was coming from that field. Now, if a deer makes that noise from that distance, it would not be as loud as what we heard, or go as long. I mean, you know, I've listened to audio on them, and I'm just like, that sounds close, but it doesn't go nearly as long as that did. And this just sounded like a, I don't know, like I said, it just sounded like a woman screaming bloody murder. Um, so we're sitting there, I'm on like standing up, like looking around, like, can't see anything because of the fog. And I'm like, okay, like, I don't like this. And shortly after that, like, I just sit down and everything, where because we don't hear it again for a little bit. And then we see headlights and everything in the fog. And one of her friends actually came to her bonfire party, because we invited a bunch of people to come, but nobody had yet. Well, her friend did coming, and so they're talking and everything, and I'm like, all right, cool. She's calmed down. I'm still on alert, because I'm like, what the heck was that? And because it didn't sound like the whoops or any of the other stuff that I've heard before out there, like this was a straight up scream. And so it wasn't long after that, and like we told her friend, we're like, hey, sorry if we seem like we're acting weird, like this just happened, and yeah, we're just kind of processing it. And she was like, oh, okay. I mean, that girl, she doesn't believe or anything like that, so she, was just like, all right, whatever, guys. But they were talking, like I said, and Amber seemed like she had been calmed down by that, but I'm still on alert, just kind of looking around, trying to figure out, all right, what's up. Well, in the field next to Dad's house, across the road from where we're at, I hear a return call. And the only way I know how to describe it is like, whenever I was on another show, the guy said, like, whenever I described how this call sounded, it was a whoop, but it was like a almost defeated whoop. And he kind of laughed and said, almost like a yes dear kind of whoop, since that one sounded female screaming. And it was, but I mean, that's how it sounded. It was just like whoop, like it was just like great, or what does she want, or something like that. I mean, that was even the vibe I got from when I heard it. I'm just like, what the hell? I was just like, okay. But here's where it gets even creepier. So not long after that, I hear bipedal footsteps in the woods, because like right across from the fire pit, there's about maybe a 20-yard stretch of just grass and stuff, and then you've got a wood line right there. And I hear bipedal foot movement to my left in the woods. I hear it to the right, and then I hear it in the center. But it was like started here, started here, started here. So 3 different sets of footsteps going at roughly the same time.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and then I was like, oh crap. And I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, I don't like this, because I can't see the woods, but I know the woods can see over here because we're standing right next to a fire. And but like, even in that moment, like, yeah, I was on alert, I was, making sure I was looking for any kind of movement or anything I could see in the fog. But I still didn't feel like, we were in like a life or death situation. And because I also thought to myself, well, Dad said when he has bonfires at night, sometimes they show up and just kind of hang back, and sometimes they'll make noises, or sometimes they'll just be standing there. So that's what I basically took from that. But it
Wow.
wasn't long after that happened that, like, we probably sat there for another half hour, and then was like, you know what, let's go ahead and call it, because, it was a Sunday night, and it was like, let's just get out of here. So yeah. Oh, the Seahawks won, huh?
That's what Blazer said.
Nice. All
Hawks
right, good
win.
deal. Good deal. Sam Darnold is vindicated. Um
Woohoo.
yes, yes.
And I'll have to go back and watch a recap on any good commercials I missed.
Yeah, yeah, that the halftime show. I I don't know. Not my style of music. I'm a metalhead, so but
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. But I'll leave it at that. But nah, I mean, it's just, being out on the farm, like, there's just such a history out there, because you've got everything with the Native Americans going against the the fort and the troops that were there. Southern Illinois University in Carbondale. They've been out to the farm twice. Once was in the 80s, and then another time was, I think, 2010. They came out there and did some excavating around where the fort was, and they found all kinds of artifacts. I mean, they found like musket balls, remnants of a sword, like buttons and buckles, all kinds of stuff, and a bunch of arrowheads. And there's, so I mean, it's a bloody ground out there, at least at one point in time. And so I mean, there's no telling, because you got to figure, like, just paranormal stuff in general. Anytime there's been something like that, a battle, whatever, it affects the land in, like a paranormal way. Like there'll be stuff. They'll have, you'll have spirits. You'll have whatever, Native Americans, their shamans did or whatever, to try and combat things, stuff they could conjure and whatnot, for lack of a better term. So do I think that, my Bigfoot out there are solid, flesh and blood? I mean, they leave prints. It was digging after something. So I think it's that. But there's also been times where I've found prints and the prints just stop. And I'm like, I'm in the middle of a field. Why are the prints stopping? It's not standing here, you know? So
Why do you think
I
that is?
just, well, out there, you've got the coal mine, so there's coal underneath. There has been quartz found out there. I wouldn't be surprised if there's portals. I haven't seen one, but like, I don't know. I did take a picture. We were supposed to have like the northern lights or whatever. Like whenever one of those times we got hit with like a solar rays or whatever, and the northern lights were supposed to be visible. I took a picture, and instead of it being like up in the sky, it was like basically just like of a field, like the field view. I was trying to get the sky, but I didn't have my phone tilted enough, I guess. But it looked like right there in the middle of the field, there was like this big purple, like oval shape. Um, I ain't gonna say it was a portal, but could have been, I guess. I don't know.
Really?
But that's maybe. I don't know, because pictures I've seen of portals, they seem to be more like bright and like yellow looking, like the light coming from it looked almost more yellow to me. And this didn't look anything like that. So I don't know. Yeah. But I mean, who's to say? People, like the missing 411, all that stuff, people could be walking and next thing you know, they're gone. But where'd they go? Same deal. Like the footprints just stop. It doesn't make any sense. I don't
Blazer
know.
asked, what state is this in?
Southern Illinois. Yep.
I had a question
That's
too.
where
You
it's at.
said, because I don't know anything about your seasons there in Southern
Mhm.
Illinois. So when you said that you had activity in May, and I think there was other activity in May, what's going on there in May? Is there like anything like berries
Um,
growing or deer out more? Is there any reason that would lure them out? Is the snow melted around that time?
yeah, I mean, we got snow right now melting. We don't get snow a lot, or if we do, we don't usually accumulate a lot. Like this last snowstorm we had a couple weeks ago, we got like a foot of snow, and that's unheard of for here. Um, but usually, yeah, stuff is starting to bloom more then, and you'll have like maybe the game is out more. Not sure, but definitely stuff's blooming, and you'll have like the temperatures are warmer. Like usually in May, it's around 70, maybe
Okay.
or maybe high 60s, 70 degrees. So it's more pleasant, I guess, to be out. Um, but May, or not May, April's not too bad. It just rains a bunch, but it also rains a bunch in May too. Like that whole April showers thing, you could say the same thing about May. So it's I don't really know exactly, other than just it seems like, the farm just kind of comes alive, so to say, with just, the new growth and whatnot.
That's cool. Are you like keeping track of all this data in any way, like all the little events? That way you don't get overwhelmed
Yeah,
at one point.
I keep notes about it and
Okay,
everything, and
good.
yeah, and I mean I've got a few pages of notes written down now, and yeah, it's pretty wild. Jeremiah told me, keep doing that and then write a book about it. And I was like, ooh, okay. Like, I don't know if I would read a book I wrote or not, but yeah. But so
You
that
never
might be something
know.
I do.
I
Yeah.
like buying Bigfoot books. I have a couple from Tom Powell, and then BMR has a couple.
Hmm.
He's got, if you like Dogman stories, the two BMR books you can get
Oh
on
yeah, I got
Amazon, by the
those.
way.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
There's
Yeah, I've
some
got his books.
good
They're good.
stories in there. Yeah, there's some
Yeah, they
good
are.
stories. And I'm always promoting them because I really believe in those books. They're really good. And I want people to read those stories. I want those to get
Oh
out there,
yeah. Yeah,
because,
and I mean
yeah, there's
BMR's a
good
hell of a
stories.
guy too.
Oh, I love BMR.
Yeah,
BMR,
yeah.
BMR.
That's right. Pirates.
Yeah.
Arr.
Yeah, but his channel, Paranormal Paul, Blondes and Booze. I love
Hmm.
Bigfoot Society and Sasquatch Theory, but the other three they get a lot more of like, your like Dogman type stuff too,
Yeah.
which when I first heard of Dogman, I'm like, Dogman? That's
Yeah, I mean,
whoa.
yeah, I was like, wait a minute, like a werewolf? Like they're talking about werewolves, and it's like, no, these are just the werewolf part, and it never turns back into a guy. And it's like, oh, that's scarier. Like, okay. And then hearing like,
Yeah.
Martin Grove's story and the LBL and everything, it's like that's not too far from here. Like the LBL is like maybe just over an hour drive from here.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have
Oh,
to ask my
dang.
dad again because I haven't been to the LBL, but my dad has, and I'll have to ask him. I think it's like about an hour, 15 minutes away from the farm. So
Okay. Yeah,
yeah, it's not
that
that
sounds
far.
like an interesting area. I know Natalie and then a bunch of them with like Relic Films are doing a lot of stuff with
Yeah.
the LBL. They've got the Vanish coming out. Is it already
Hmm.
out? I think it might be out.
I
But yeah,
think it
it's
is
come out.
out, but I haven't seen it yet. I don't know how to watch it. I'll have to ask her.
I think it's eventbrite.com. It's on there. So yeah, I can
Okay.
send you the link later. But yeah, if you go to Relic Films on YouTube, you can find all their stuff. They're deep in the LBL. I made like a little rap song about it too. Greg Ogles and all those guys. But it's like, are you
Nice.
down with the LBL? But I was talking to Dorf because I was like, yeah, it kind of reminded me of like an old song from, like Snoop Dogg, the LBC back in the day. But I was like, we're gonna change it into the
Right.
LBL.
Yeah, there we go. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
That's
a
awesome.
lot there. I'm interested in that. I'm like, I can't wait to watch that.
Yeah, yeah, because I heard her interview with Paul, and I was like, whoa, like just in that one night, in that one like 30-minute setting of an encounter that happened, like so much happened in that one bit of 30 minutes that she was talking about. It was just like there's crawlers, there was Bigfoot, like what? And then something about seeing like the thermal picked up a floating gnome or something like that. I was just like,
Oh, really?
man. Yeah, that's what I was listening to her interview where she was talking to Paul about it, like she had just got back or something.
Oh,
And
Paranormal Paul.
yeah,
That
and
guy's so awesome.
yeah, he
Wait, hold
is.
on.
Yeah, he
We're
is.
having some technical issues, you guys. Can you give me 1 second? Let me see. Oh, there it is.
Technically, I'm the issue.
Oh, there he is. What's up, brother?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Oh, not bad, not
Hello.
bad. So the Seahawks won, huh?
Seahawks won, was it 29-14 or something like that? I don't know. But
Nice.
yeah, that was a good game.
Sweet.
Nice.
How's everybody doing?
Good,
Oh, doing
good.
pretty
We're just
good.
hanging out.
Good, good.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't see me now. Okay, there we are. All
Yeah,
right,
no, I see you.
there we are. Yeah.
Did you have fun with your friends, Paul?
Um, I might have ate too much and I might have drank a little too much, but everything's good.
Oh yeah.
I'm at home. I don't have
Hey,
to drive anywhere, so why not?
exactly. That's the best time to get on a YouTube show too.
Exactly, exactly. How you
Yeah.
guys doing? How you guys doing?
Good. I think we
Doing
both
good,
have
man.
Bigfoots living on our properties. I forgot to mention, I think I've got them out here too.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Do
That
you
is
got any at
Yeah.
your house, Paul?
No, and I don't even have big feet, so no, I can't say that I have Bigfoot here at my house. No,
Yep. Paul's going to be coming out to the farm soon.
I will.
Yep.
I don't
That'll
know.
be exciting.
Yeah, hopefully sometime in March or April we'll be
Yep.
out there.
Okay.
So that'll be cool. That'll be
Yeah,
cool.
it's going to be fun. We're going to see
Yeah,
what we can find and take footage or something, take footage of it and then see what we do.
yeah. Have a cool little show or something.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
if you
that'll be
guys do
fun.
a live show, I can mod it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Sounds groovy. Definitely. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Like I said, I can't guarantee we'll find anything out there, but we're going to definitely look. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's going
But
to be
I
a
think,
good time.
I think if
it
Paul shows up, something will happen.
Yeah, guaranteed. Plus, I
ch-
want to show Paul the spot where he was kind of having a clairvoyant moment whenever I was on his show to see if it was what he was seeing.
yeah. That was really bizarre. I mean, that's the first time that's ever really happened. And I almost saw that clear as day.
Yeah.
That where you were talking about. So it'll be interesting to see what that looks like. I still have it in my head. I
Hmm.
didn't write it down on a post-it note, but I do have it in my head, so I remember that.
Nice.
Yeah,
Heck
That's
yeah.
awesome.
yeah.
So you guys are doing
So
that in March or April?
now if
Oh,
I
go
go
ahead.
out to see Bryce on his farm, I'm gonna have
Hmm.
to come out by you, Fades.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
And you can get a hold of Dwarf and have him meet you up there too.
yeah,
Heck
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I think that would be awesome. I
Road
actually
trip.
know a guy here who has like a private property. I won't say the name of it, but there's been lots of Bigfoot sightings on it, and he's trying to set up a camp. And I'm like, you got to get that going. I know a lot of people that want to come to the Pacific Northwest and would
Mhm.
love to camp at this location. So
Oh yeah,
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 That'd be awesome.
yeah, yeah. That would be pretty cool.
I think
Definitely.
that would be more fun. Oh, is that what Bailey?
That's Bailey.
Bailey.
Oh,
Say hi,
Oh,
Bailey.
hi
hi
Bailey.
Bailey.
You got to do like that
Yeah.
one guy. He does all the funny videos with his golden retriever and has it doing the funny eyes. And I don't know if you know which one I'm talking about, but I always see him on Facebook.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, I
Okay,
don't
I'll
know.
tag you next time I see it.
Yeah, yeah,
There we go.
yeah,
Yeah, his
Nice.
golden retriever is really famous. It's a really cool dog.
yeah.
Oh, cool.
I might have to do that.
Heck
Yeah.
yeah.
How'd your
Yeah.
morning show go? I caught it afterwards, but
It went good. It was definitely a first show. So it definitely can get better. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It'll keep
nice.
going. It'll keep going. But it was fun. It was fun.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, it was like 5 a.m. my time, and I really wanted to wake up, but I woke up at like 7. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna try this Friday.
That's
I'm
awfully
a
I
night
was at
nice of
owl.
you.
work and my machine was down and I could have watched it right then. And for some reason, I thought I'd already missed it because I kept thinking it was starting at 5 a.m. And
Yeah.
even whenever I said that on his live stream, he was like, "No, not 5-7." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay." Anyways, I'm at work and I'm like sitting there literally watching YouTube videos and it doesn't even dawn on me to check. And yeah, so I had to watch it afterwards.
Yeah.
But it was a good
Yeah.
show though.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, no
It's a
problem.
Yeah,
work in progress. It's a work in progress, but
Oh yeah. Did I
that's
see on those
exciting.
comments you were showing that Shelly said she was from Effingham? Is that Effingham, Illinois
Um,
she's talking
I
about?
believe so. I know she's out there close to that. And she's
Yes.
Yeah.
actually, yeah, Effingham, I
Okay.
think. I can't read that. It's too small for me.
Yeah,
Actually,
Effingham.
she
That's
sent
that's
she
probably
sent
about
me,
2 hours away from me, I think, maybe.
yeah,
It's straight up
Shelly's cool.
57. I know that much.
I met her at Ashmore Estates. I can't remember where that's at. That's
Oh,
like two
really?
hours 2 hours east of St. Louis here. So I met
Yeah.
Shelly at Ashmore, and she actually sent me a video that she took. I think it was outside her door that she said she saw like little black objects in the sky, and I was able to slow it down and zoom into it. And there wasn't just one or two; there was a ton of black things flying around in the sky that we have no idea what they are. So
Wow.
it was
What,
pretty
you want to
cool.
hear something pretty wild? I didn't
Yes,
say
sir.
this earlier because I tried to keep it more on the subject of like Bigfoot and whatnot. But during one of our investigations out there on the farm, when Joe and Jason were there, Jason had this green laser pointer. I think I may have told you already this, Paul. And he was shining it up in the sky. Now it's one of those ones that like if you hit a airplane with it, you're gonna get in some big trouble over it.
Right.
But he was like, yeah, you know, they say this calls in UFOs. And I mean, it wasn't just a few minutes after he did that, all of a sudden there was these red orbs in the sky. And they were like,
Oh
you
wow.
know, kind of like they would go like to me, it looked like it was going like from the right to the left, and then it would fade out, and then it would
Mhm.
come back and do that. Well, Jason, you know, Joe wasn't really, you know, Joe was like, you know, there for, you know, Bigfoot research. He was like, took note of it, watched it for a little bit, but Jason was sitting there filming it with his IR. And after all that, whenever they were looking at the footage, it wasn't like four red orbs being like four separate craft or something like that. What it actually ended up being was a pyramid shaped UFO in the sky. And the four corners were what was turning, going like right to left. So it was like, you know, spinning around, going like left in a spin. And that is what I was seeing whenever I would think it would like phase out and then come back over here and then go that way.
Oh
That was what
wow.
we got. Yeah. So we got that footage too. And
Whoa.
I don't know if Joe's putting that in the documentary or not. I think he is because the full fledged documentary, it's going to be on the streaming services. We're calling it the Pond Creek Monster, and then like subtitle Bigfoot and Other High Strangeness. Just because
Wow.
everything else that's happened out there that we've got evidence of, it's like, well, this was supposed to be just about Bigfoot, but all this other stuff's going on, and we've got all this evidence of it as well, so may as well just combine it and you know see what happens.
And
um
and you know, it's just hard to say, come up with the title beforehand, that you're just gonna focus on Bigfoot or something when all of these
yeah,
things seem to be connected somehow.
right,
And you're gonna get other things happening when you're just looking for one thing. So yeah, that's pretty darn cool.
yeah,
That's
yeah, for
awesome.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Like I mean my dad back in the 70s, whenever I think he was still, he wasn't driving age yet, I don't believe, but it was him, my uncle, and my grandma again. They were coming home from town and heading out to the farm, and they had a cigar-shaped UFO follow them all the way from town clear out to the farm. It was silver and had like blue and yellow lights on it. My uncle saw it the best because he was sitting in the back seat, but like grandma had it floored. Is what she told me, because I remember her telling me and my cousin this when we were kids, that she had it pedaled to the metal, is what she said, all the way to the farm, and this thing was right behind him the whole time, and you know probably say four telephone poles high off the ground, and
Wow.
just following them clear out to the farm, and then it went like across the road from them into those woods and hovered above those woods for a while. Now she said it landed, but what I think is it hovered there for a while and then just went ahead and kept heading east, and just you know like went over the horizon basically, and she lost sight of it. So I think that's what maybe made her think that it landed or something, because nothing landed. But a lot of weirdness, you know. We've seen plenty of UFOs out there in the past. Like when I used to live out there, I would always have bonfires, and like if my friends weren't over there partying with me, then I'd just be like, you know, sitting there by the fire, like laying on the hood of my car looking up at the stars or something, because that's one of my favorite things to do out there is just,
Yeah.
you know, look at the sky, because there is no light pollution. You can see everything in the sky at night. And sometimes you see stuff that just defies the law of physics. And
So,
yeah.
when I come out that way, I'm gonna
Mhm.
if you don't see me, if you lose me for a bit, I'm laying in the grass doing exactly what you're saying there. I'll be
Yep.
looking up at the sky. Yeah, because
Man, I can't wait for
there's,
Yeah,
that.
definitely.
yeah, there's so much light pollution here where I'm at that you can't really see anything. I see a few stars here and there and stuff, but
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
dude, it's gonna be fun, man. We're gonna have a blast out there for sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love it when like people get together and you see combos like that. I'm really excited to watch that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Paul gets eaten in Illinois.
Hey, hey,
There's the episode title right now.
hey. You know what? I
See, it
think
was
maybe
near.
I'm busy in March now, all of a sudden.
Yeah. Oh, forgot to tell you about that little bit of a hole over there.
I'm rethinking this.
Yeah, like, oh man, yeah, that's right. There's an unmarked well. Sorry about that. Hey, I'll come back and check on you tomorrow.
Bryce starts Googling waivers right after the show. Like,
Yeah, like, hang on one second here. Yeah, nah.
Yeah.
Mike had a
I'd be more
question for
afraid
you,
of
Paul.
snakes than anything else.
Oh yeah, the copperheads you're saying.
Yeah,
Ooh,
Oh
I'll stay away
no.
from snakes.
yeah.
Mike asked Paul if you live in the city. Do you live in the town or the city?
I live in St. Louis, Missouri. Actually, I'm just south of St. Louis, but it's still considered St. Louis.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
What's up with that like whole arch thing? How did they do that? Is that half of a McDonald's or?
Yeah, and no, it was built in 64 or 67, I think.
Mhm.
And oddly enough, when they built it, no one died from building it or anything. No one fell off the top of it. And actually, once or twice a year, somebody climbs up on the very top and goes out there and changes. There's a little light bulb up there that they change.
No
And
way.
Yeah.
they changed that. Yeah. And
Yeah, I mean,
actually,
that thing is really high.
yeah.
Really?
Actually, there was, I'm not sure when this was, but Krista was telling me that there was a Bigfoot sighting under the arch.
What?
So,
Really?
yeah, exactly. And I know that
Wow.
across the river from the arch, it's a bunch of woodland. And of course, you
And
got the
meadow.
Mississippi here, right there. And then north of the arch is, there's some wooded area there too. So, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
you never know. I mean, never know where these things could pop up.
Yeah, that's true.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I just keep waiting for like somebody to come up with the idea that that's a big Stargate or something like that. Because I could totally see that in like some kind of B movie or whatever, like Bruce Campbell has to save the world from whatever's coming out of the St. Louis Arch Stargate.
Yeah.
There you go, Paul. Your next story blog, the St. Louis portal.
There you go.
Hey, there we go. There we go.
There
And
we
Werewolf's
go, yes.
right. There's a observation room at the top of the arch, and you go in this little ball, and I
Yeah.
believe it seats like 6 people, and
Tightly.
that's 6 of your very close friends. I mean, you get to be really
Yes.
close in that thing, and it's a tight fit. And when you're up on the top, you can actually feel it swaying just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you're afraid of heights and you don't like that stuff, I wouldn't go up there. But it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And they
Yeah,
they
you can see
remodeled the
inside
underneath.
Busch Stadium too. That's really cool.
Yeah, you can see on a good day, you can see a long way, way. So, but it's pretty cool.
Does anyone ever have like a lot of drinks and try to crawl up there? And don't get any ideas tonight, Paul.
No, not going to. Actually, somebody did. I don't know if they were drunk or whatever, but they had suction cups on their hands and feet, I guess.
No.
And they made it all the way up to the top. And
No
they
way.
parachuted down. Of course, when they landed, they got arrested. But
Right.
but they did it.
Worth it.
Yeah,
Worth it.
I'm not gonna do it,
Yeah.
but yeah.
No, I mean, you could be the only person to say I parachuted off the arch.
Right.
Right. I mean,
right.
It's a legend in his own mind.
Right. Yeah.
Didn't someone try to do that with the Sphere in Vegas recently too? They climbed up to the top and they had to go up there and get him down. I think that was another one.
I didn't hear that one, but
that thing's creepy when it looks like the eyeball.
What they need to have
Every
is
time I
like
see that.
a red eye or something, and like I don't know. Yeah, it'd be just kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, anything high like that, you would think people would be dumb enough to climb up it and stuff. So
where they get these ideas, I have no idea.
Yeah. Yes,
From this
on
show.
the Sphere. Yeah. From you, Fades.
Yep, they heard you say it. And they're like, "That's a great idea."
You know what?
That's interesting.
It's a boring Friday. I'm gonna go climb the sphere.
Yes.
The
I'm gonna
Patriots
go.
lost. I better go climb the spear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just lost $250,000. No, time to climb the sphere. Yeah.
Paul, was there any good commercials?
Um, Anheuser-Busch had a good one as usual. It was a baby Clydesdale finding a baby eagle,
Oh,
and of course they were friends for their whole life. And the eagle grew up, and the Clydesdale grew up. And there was this one shot that was really a cool shot. That it was the Clydesdale was jumping over a log or something, and the eagle spread its wings, and it looked like the horse had wings.
oh,
Like a
really?
Pegasus.
That was pretty cool. Yeah, like a Pegasus. And
Hmm.
then there was one, I think it was for a company called Liquid IV,
Hmm.
and it was basically a tagline was "Stay hydrated, Liquid IV," and it
Yeah.
was all of these toilets that were talking. I thought that one was the best one.
I love toilets.
But
Yes.
you like toilet humor? I mean, it's the
Yes,
best.
toilet humor is always good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like the salt and pepper to urinals. It's great.
Right, right, right.
Yeah,
I have a haunted
that's awesome.
urinal, by the way, Bryce.
Yeah, she has a
Nice
What?
to
haunted
meet you.
urinal.
Yeah, I have a haunted urinal.
That's awesome.
Yeah, when we moved in here, there was like a whole bunch of like paranormal activity, like lights turning off and stuff. And so it was just like thrown out in the garage. So when we hooked it back up in the bathroom, it all kind of settled down. And we figured out it was probably the old man that had passed away before out in the front yard. And he kind of go,
Oh,
okay, finally, my urinal's back. My wife took it down
yeah,
after I passed.
yeah. Had to take an ecto piss.
Yeah, give him his urinal back.
Man, yeah, jeez.
I mean, you
Wow.
really need to get a set of business cards made that says has haunted urinal.
Yes.
I mean,
Ghost
that would be
urinal
awesome.
cakes.
Ghost
Do you
urinal
have any
cakes.
Bigfoot stories? Do you have any ghost stories that need to go to the bathroom? If so, contact me. Do you
Exactly.
need a haircut? Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Well, and I know you said you're not really like leaving food out for him, but if when Paul gets there, what kind of bait are you gonna put out there? Like some corn on the cob or pies? Paul's
Me,
like, "What are you setting me up?"
Oh,
I'm the bait. I'm the bait.
yeah. Paul can be the bait because he'll be like out there walking around being like, "Hey, where'd you go?" And I'll be like, "I'm over here. Don't worry. Just stay there." Nah. Um, no, I mean, when we're planning on doing this, I think the deer will definitely be out still. Turkeys are out there too. So there's going to be things for it to snack on already. Um, and I mean, as far as like, pet food or anything, I mean, my dad has the dogs. He's also got a bunch of cats out there. So I mean, there is like bags of food out there. Um, I don't know if it's been gotten into before or not. He's never told me. Um, but who knows? I just don't want to ever give it the idea that I'm starting gifting because I'm definitely not going to be doing that. So it might just be one of those, we'll see what happens when we get there. But Dad has found a lot of like scrape marks and stuff on the pond that's closest to his house, that one that I had heard that faint whoop come from before. So I think that'll be a good spot to kind of hang around towards the evening and observe because right back in there, like those things could be there. Nobody would see them. Even like at the house, you can't see over into that section of woods, and it's almost like there's a natural barrier there by the way the hill is and everything. Um, After you get past the pond, so I mean they're hanging out back there, and there's persimmons back there. There's some apple trees back there. That Tony Gerard guy, the dude I was telling you that was from Monster Quest, he even found a native growing passion fruit out there, and
Oh,
I had no
wow.
idea that was out there. Yeah, I didn't know what passion fruit was, but he pointed it out, and it was just like, whoa, because then Joe showed me, because I didn't actually get to meet him because I was at my son's soccer game that morning whenever he was there. So Joe filmed his part while they were waiting on me to get out there. So I didn't get to meet him, but he was still really nice, from what I heard. But yeah, he found that, and he said that, given the size of these creatures and whatnot, is it even feasible that they could survive out here with all the game, all the fruit trees and whatnot? Yeah. I mean, the ponds, plenty of water, the creek's always full now. Before, whenever I was a kid, sometimes it'd be dry for a long time until we had a big rain. Well,
Mhm.
whenever they had to build that train track to cut through the farm and get over to the old set of tracks, they built hills up and everything for the train tracks over there. And they had to actually reroute part of the creek. So now the creek's always full and deep. So there's plenty of water and stuff for it to drink too. Um, and like I said, three of them ran up that night. So I'm thinking there's at least three of them there. And then
Now,
possibly that other thing.
now, didn't you say too that whenever you guys seem to have bonfires or
Mhm.
something, they tend to either watch you guys or throw sticks or throw stuff at you guys or do
Yeah,
some kind of
Dad
action?
got whistled at, and he's heard whoops before. He's heard owl mimicry, the train whistle mimicry. Amber, whenever we were shooting her fireside interview, got a stick thrown at her, and Joe got that on film too. We didn't. Whenever I did your show, I didn't know that at the time, but he actually got that on film of that stick coming in at an angle and hitting her in her leg.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, that was pretty wild. And then let's see, uh whenever we were having that bonfire on her birthday and I heard that like loud, like blood curdling female scream that ended ape like, that was like a solid 8 to 10 seconds when I heard that. So, they definitely let you know they're around, it seems like, whenever there's bonfires going on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
Lil Patty had a question for you. Said, when you guys see orbs, are they solid colors or is the center brighter, like a white in the middle?
Let's see. Seen yellow orbs out there. I've seen some orange orbs. The one that I could best make out was one of the orange ones. It was orange, and it almost seemed like it had like this like purplish pinkish kind of thing going around the orange itself,
Oh
if that
wow.
makes any bit of sense. Yeah. But like, saw that for probably, I don't know, probably no more than 10 to 15 seconds max. And I mean,
Wow.
I'm being generous on that 15. It was probably closer to 10. And then it just disappeared. The picture
Wow.
that we got of the orb that was on the, I think it was night vision, um, that being black and white, you can't really tell what color it was, but you could absolutely see it. And it wasn't like it was somebody with a headlamp standing way over there. Like, this was high up enough off the ground and right in front of like the hill part where the train track is, and the woods and all is right there. So I mean, it wasn't a person,
Hmm.
um, and yeah, and grandma, she always called them ghost lights, and it was like, wasn't until later that I realized that's what she was talking about. Like, me being a kid hearing ghost lights, I'm thinking there's a ghost out there carrying a lantern,
I mean,
And,
that makes sense. I mean, yeah.
right? I mean, when you're 8 years old hearing these stories, you're just like, whoa. So yeah, but nah, I think she was seeing orbs though. That's what I really feel like she was seeing.
Sounds
And
like it.
yeah, and I mean, like I said, there's all kinds of stuff out there. There's that quartz out there, um, the coal, um,
Bless you.
yeah. Bless you.
What
Whoever's
kind of
next.
equipment are you guys thinking of going with next? Like when Paul comes out, any kind of like thermal drones, or do you guys think you'll have better chances without any recording devices? What are your thoughts?
Um, Whatever Paul wants to bring's fine with me. Um,
It's on you,
I,
Paul.
you know,
I don't have any kind of Bigfoot
right? I mean, I ain't
equipment
got
at
the
all. I mean,
fancy
I got a
gadgets.
camera.
That's
Yeah,
Joe. We may have to
I
get
got a
Joe down there
camera.
too. But yeah, I mean, like, get some like audio recorders. I feel like audio recorders work the best.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, maybe that's just because I use the parabolic dish and stuff, but that's Joe's. It's not mine. but yeah, I feel like audio is our best bet on capturing stuff. And then, you know, if we have a sighting, fantastic. Or, you know, if we come across some tracks, we can take pictures of it and stuff, you know, with our phones or whatever. If you got like a fancy camera or something you want to bring and take pictures with, that's fine too. But yeah, I mean, the audio is definitely where it's at with a lot of the footage we have, or the evidence. You know, we've got, I would say, probably more audio than anything else. But if I'm wrong, Joe's in the chat and he can correct me on that.
I keep hearing so
But
many reports about where they don't like RVs and will like slap RVs. I almost wonder if you park like an RV they've never seen somewhere out there and like hide out in that overnight, if you'd get some activity.
maybe there is an old RV over there by the fire pit, but I mean, it's set there for so long, they're probably used to it.
Yeah.
There's even a boat in the woods over there, where that L-shaped field is I was telling you about, Fades, and where I heard the you know, like where it sounded like something was running through the woods and knocking all the tree branches and everything. Um, there is a boat that sits back there, and one time we got eye shine over there, and that was pretty wild. But and it wasn't like reflecting off the boat; it was above the boat.
Interesting.
I don't remember if Joe was with me that time or if that was just whenever I was out there. But yeah, I've seen eye shine out there before.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Really,
and it
really,
was like,
the only thing that I was planning on bringing was just cameras and some flashlights, and you know, that was really it. I mean, I don't have much else to bring.
yeah, that's basically what I'm planning on doing too.
Yeah.
You know, and then just hoping for the best. You know, turn the audio recorders on and see what we capture, because the one I've got now, it's 8 hour. So I mean, you know, we can get 8 hours worth of audio and then painstakingly listen and see what we can find.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I think like watching like Miguel and a few people that are really big into equipment, it seems like they have a lot of failure with like batteries, or like the cards that go into the cameras will, like, the format will fail while you're out there. So I would say bring extra of that stuff, because weird stuff happens out in those kind of high energy areas. If all 5 of your cards don't format, something's going on.
Right. Yeah, that one night we were out there, that was crazy because like they had fresh batteries and stuff, you know, and they like fully charged batteries, and the equipment just almost instantly quit working.
Really?
Jason had some kind of a thing on him. It was like it would tell you if there was lightning strikes nearby, and on this particular night there was no clouds in the sky, and it was saying there was lightning strikes within a mile of us, like 2 miles of us, and it just kept going off. And there was another time that him and Joe were investigating somewhere else down that way, and I think Joe said it went off like 28 times, and then a week after that there was a small earthquake from the New Madrid fault. So
Oh wow.
that was pretty wild. Yeah.
Have you had anything with like car batteries? Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just looking at this. You pissed him off right here. Yeah, I've got a story where I think we did piss one off.
Nice.
Seeing that reminded me. So Jason had this thing called an Aztec death whistle, and I don't know if you've ever heard what those sound like, but if you were in the woods and you heard that, you would be doing everything you could to get out of the woods, because those things sound terrifying.
Yeah.
Really?
And don't have the parabolic dish going when someone blows it, because I did that, and oh god, that hurt.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jason blew it once and nothing happened. Waited about 30 seconds and then blew it again. And when he blew it again, immediately I got a solid tree knock response. It sounded like something took a big branch or a small tree and just smacked another tree. And it sounded like pissed and like knock it off, you know, it's like the vibe I felt from it. And or, you know, like it heard that noise, didn't recognize it, and felt like it was being challenged. So it was like, hey, I'm down here, you want to do this, you know, kind of thing. That was the feeling I got from that, because as soon as I heard that, I was like, "Oh, we got a response. We got a response." I was like, "We got a knock," and it sounded like it was telling us to stop.
Yeah.
And so yeah,
I'll
that was
bring I think I have a wooden baseball bat that I might bring too,
okay.
to knock on the trees and stuff. Now,
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
I've heard people go to these places, and I think Chris has done this before, where she plays the what's the sounds? I just had it.
Sierra sounds.
Sierra, yeah, that's it. Thank you. She
Hmm.
plays the Sierra sounds really loud and kind of to see what would happen. Would you be up for that? If I can bring like a big speaker and stuff, I can download the Sierra sounds and see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah, I mean,
All right, all right.
yeah, that I mean, if we suddenly get stuff thrown at us, we know that it worked. It's like,
Werewolf
hey,
Able to
says
run.
they didn't like that. Let's go.
Okay, bad
werewolf
idea. See ya.
werewolf has a
Yeah,
great idea. He says cover him with peanut butter. I like that great idea.
yeah, yeah.
How
Who?
fast
But
do you
what
run?
flavored jelly? What
Him being
flavored
who?
jelly?
I
Just
want to know
honey.
who him is. I want to know who him is.
I'm
No,
assuming it's
no, no,
Paul.
no, no.
He's
Yeah,
like werewolf. Who do you mean?
yeah.
I
I've
have
seen
heard they
werewolf in
like.
your chat too, so I think he's talking about
I think
you.
he is talking about me, but we're not going to cover Paul in peanut butter and leave me as a gift for the Bigfoot. Nope, that ain't
Right?
happening.
I think you guys could make the next best movie. It'll be like The Hangover in Vegas, but it'll be in Illinois with Bigfoot.
Yes.
The
Yes.
hangover with Bigfoot.
Where's
Oh my
Paul? We
God.
left him in the tree.
Yeah. Last time I saw him, he was covered in peanut butter and jelly.
Down by the
I don't
pond.
know. He said, I got this. Go on.
Said he was going to do some boat camping. I don't
That
know.
is something
Yeah.
that
He
Paul will
wanted to look at
never
the
say.
stars.
You guys definitely got to call
You
it
know,
boat camping with Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I like that title.
Yeah,
You
that
know
could be
what?
cool.
My March is all of a sudden filling up. I think I have to work every weekend. April is looking like that too. So, I don't know.
Yeah. We'll go in June when it's nice and hot instead.
I got to work every weekend in June too.
Werewolf says it was Paul. I had to
Yeah,
skip that.
yeah. Thanks,
Yeah, there we
Werewolf.
go.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah.
Noted.
Al. If I see a big thing of peanut butter when I get there, I'm turning around and leaving.
I'm getting one of those industrial size ones.
And
I
Like
heard
the
they really.
we've used those death whistles in haunted locations before, and I agree. Those
oh
things
really?
are loud and they are obnoxious. They work,
Yeah.
but they are crazy. Paul being
Yeah.
romanced by Bigfoot. That sounds like a weird title too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Call Paul.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of Paul Saul, it'll be like Call Paul. But with
Yeah,
Bigfoot.
exactly. Oh man. Pride, Prejudice, and Paul.
Yeah.
I have heard they liked boiled corn on the cob and pie. So if you guys really do want to lure them in, I'm just saying you should just try it.
Yeah.
I
Well, I wonder sometimes if those like half-eaten corn cobs you'll find on like the ground and like the old like after they've like the corn gets cut and all that stuff. Sometimes I wonder if it wasn't raccoons or squirrels that did that, and it was like Bigfoot or something that decided to have a little snack and then threw it down or something.
Probably,
I don't know.
yeah. Joe Belart, he has that Oregon Bigfoot Highway book. He was on a podcast, The Flash of Beauty. Check that one out
Mhm.
because he kind of goes over everything he was feeding them. But he actually took
Yeah.
a piece of corn on the cob and put it in the fridge and had it tested. And they call him up, and it's a good story. You'll have to actually listen to what they found about it. But he says if anybody finds any corn on the cob that you think Bigfoot had been gnawing on, put it in the freezer, put it in a plastic bag, and try not to touch it with your hands so that way you can
Yeah.
preserve the DNA.
Right.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'll have to do that. Yeah, because we definitely always have corn out there. It's just trying to figure out which field it's in, but because we always flip flop from corn to soybeans. So
They love corn. Love it, love
yeah.
it.
so do I. Actually.
So
Yeah, I'm wondering if they like soybeans because that whenever they finally got the fields planted and stuff, there was a couple different times where like you would be walking around in the fields and you could see like the soybean seeds sitting there, and you'd see like a hole where it looked like something had grabbed down in it and grabbed a handful or something to like snack on or whatever.
Probably.
I don't know.
I would
Yeah, I
start
mean,
taking pictures of anything that you think could be something and just start saving that data, you know?
yeah, because I mean, I may have a whole lot of nothing, but then there may be a few of them where you got something doing that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that's definitely, yeah.
It's always best to get a whole lot of nothing than to get
Hmm.
absolutely nothing at all. So I mean,
Right, that's true.
yeah, it
Yeah,
certainly doesn't hurt to take as many pictures as you can.
yeah.
Absolutely. Do you have like plaster too? Like, are you ready to like take prints whenever you need to, or?
I have no idea how to do that. That's something I
Yeah,
still
me
gotta
either.
watch a YouTube video and learn.
Yeah, I just got
Because I
plaster
would
of Paris
definitely
to
do
get
it,
it.
but
Yeah. I got plaster of Paris off of Amazon. You can get it like same day, just a construction kind. And I mixed it up more watery because the thicker it was, it kind of set too fast. And I just went out there
oh,
and kind
okay.
of poured it in there, and then it pretty easy. Let it set for a few hours and kind of go make sure it's not too gooey still, and it's not
Yeah.
too difficult to do really. But
Oh, cool.
I needed to mix a lot more than I thought I would need, so
Hmm.
definitely get a good amount of it if you're trying to get prints while you're out there.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I
that
definitely
would
have
be cool. That would have come in handy whenever I found those 18-inch prints that time. But
Yeah, it
like I
would.
said, at that point in time, like Bigfoot being on the farm was not really something I was thinking of at that time. Um,
yeah.
yeah. So, and then seen it twice now, and Dad saw possibly a dog man. So I'm just like, okay.
Oh wow.
Ugh.
And they
Yeah,
got apps
yeah.
where you can like do 3D scanning with like a phone app, and you can actually scan the prints with that too and get like
Oh, really?
scanning data. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
When I figure out which one it is, I had it written down somewhere. I can send that to you.
Go find it.
Someone said
Okay,
it in one
cool.
of the shows,
Go.
but yeah, you can have that ready
Come
to
on.
go. And if you got like a dollar store there, you can just get some like, or just save plastic
Come on.
containers to like mix that
Uh-huh.
plaster because once it gets on there, it's hard to get it
Come on.
off of there.
Right.
But yeah,
Heck yeah, definitely. That's
Paul's
awesome.
taking us
I'll
for
do
a
that for
tour through
sure.
his house.
There we go. Time to go back to the party.
Trying to get the dogs outside.
Right. Heck yeah. Grabbing the
Paul, you
peanut
guys
butter.
got snacks over there? You got peanut butter?
No peanut butter. No peanut butter. Come on.
The
That's
dogs are
awesome.
like, come on, man. Yeah, that's gonna be really exciting when you two get together. I really hope you guys do a live show like texted with that like Dogman Ranch in Earlson. That was kind of fun.
Yeah.
We'll
If
certainly
he can get
try. I
it,
mean,
yeah, I mean, if he can get his phone out there there should be signal out there. Um, Joe tried doing
Scanverse,
it that
that's where.
time, and it said it was live on his YouTube channel, but people were texting me looking for the live because no one could find it.
yeah,
So that was weird, but that was the
yeah.
night that like everything weird electrical was happening. So I don't know. That could have just been
Pacific
a
Northwest
one-off.
said it's Scaniverse is the app. That's what I thought. Yeah, Scaniverse. And then Werewolf
Oh,
asked if is it seed corn?
yeah, yeah. It's not sweet corn or nothing. It's the seed corn. They take it and make grain or whatever out of it with, or
Does
not
that make a
grain, but you know
difference,
what I mean.
Werewolf?
Feed.
I
Now,
wonder if
Dad
that makes
has a big garden that he plants out there, also, and he actually, if I remember right, he put a few different things out there on like the corner or whatever for them. So just in case.
Oh really?
I
Like this
think,
is your
if I
guys', this
remember
is your
correctly, I think he said that it seemed like they liked eating squash because he would see squash and then he would go back out a day or two later and there wouldn't be squash there.
Are you guys doing trail cams out there and checking them?
My cousin's got trail cams out there. He's never caught anything on it, but there has been a couple times where he'll see deer on it, and then he'll see deer staring over at like the tree line, and then there'll be another flash, and like where there was two deer, now there's just one. So I don't know. Um,
Oh well.
Yeah, he hasn't seen anything. Now he doesn't live on the farm. He lives another town over from me. But he's out there a lot during hunting season and whatnot, you know. But I mean, like, he always lets me know where he's at and stuff because he knows what I'm doing out there. So he doesn't want to be out there if I'm going to be out there doing research or whatever. Um, but yeah, he's got, I think he said he has about a dozen cameras out there. So I mean, and like me and Joe and Jason, we had a camera out there by that pond. And I don't remember if Joe said we got anything on that or not. I think he said that it was mainly just deer that he saw, but I mean, who knows? You know, you focus in on the background, there might be something back there standing. Because I mean, I've ran across pictures like that before, where like you're looking at it, you see a deer standing by a tree or whatever, or standing by a pond. You're like, oh, cool. But then like somebody will like on like a video, they'll like zoom in on the background, like the tree line. And you see a dark figure standing there, and it's like, oh shit. Like,
Yeah.
okay. You know, so like I wonder about that because like I know that they have to be back over in there, at least some of them, because it's just a perfect spot for them to be completely undetected. Got their water source right there, all the game, and you know, like I said, fruit trees and all that stuff right back there too. So I mean, it's just a perfect spot for them to be.
Yeah, you should definitely get some more trail cams out there. They have those cellular ones, and I was just talking to a hunter that he was showing me all kinds of stuff he gets like pretty much daily. He's got like bear and deer and mountain lion and bobcat and I think it's
Mhm.
like moa. It starts with the M, and I can send that brand to you. But he goes, it ain't cheap. You got to pay like a yearly
Yeah,
deal for it, but it'll send it right to your phone when it catches something. So those are
that's
some
cool.
I'm yeah. So the cellular ones I think might be pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the I've heard that like Bigfoot tend to stay away from the cameras because they can see the
Sense it.
IR or
Hmm.
something or sense it. Yeah. So that's the
Yeah.
only reason I haven't really invested in cameras is because, you know, if they can see it and know to stay away from it, I'm not going to ever get a picture of it.
There's
But
Well, I think that's what people say, but they've still been catching them on them though.
yeah, that's true. I mean, that is true too. So I don't know.
there's an
I'm
episode
like,
of a Small Town Monsters that just came out that they follow a group of guys that have trail cams set up, but they're in like metal boxes, and it has a
uh-huh.
little hole made out for the camera to see through, but
Yeah.
it's covered with some kind of plastic so that they can't sense the whatever or hear the sound of the camera or anything like that or sense it or anything. And
Oh, cool.
they showed some of the footage from there. It's one of the latest ones from Small Town Monsters. If you guys want to go check that out.
Is it one of the ones that Jesse and Joe did for Small Town Monsters
No,
from
no, I don't
Hellbent?
know.
No.
I don't know who these guys are.
Oh, okay.
But it's two dudes and then a couple were out there, but they had it set up. It looked like a big, huge metal box that these cameras were set in, and big, huge hey T-Bone, big, huge battery packs that lasted for like 2 weeks. And
Oh,
they would have
wow.
to go around and they had a bunch of them just kind of strategically placed around this location. So, I mean, that seemed
Hmm.
pretty cool. I mean,
Yeah,
if you can
definitely.
if you can rig it up to where it's undetectable, and they have it pretty much buried in moss, so that up on a stump, but kind of covered with moss, so it's kind of um, camouflage too. So I thought that was kind
I
of a
wonder if
cool
you
idea.
had one like up in a tree but pointed down, and so it's like walking under it, it wouldn't see it because it like, and you might just get like a headshot. But I wonder if you could get one that like just trying
Yeah,
different like angles, like from the ground or facing up,
yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, that's possible. I mean,
hmm
I don't know if that's been tried yet. I mean, it might have been, but
yeah,
that would definitely be a good spot because if you know if it's looking around like they're used to looking down for one, they may not think to look up. So it's definitely worth a shot. That's for sure.
it was in
Yeah.
military ammo boxes. Thanks, Josh. Okay.
Okay. I think
So if
there's
you
a
have a
couple
military
out
ammo
there.
box laying around the house,
I think there is a couple out there because my great grandpa was in World War II, and I want to say that in my great uncle was in Vietnam, and I want to say I'd seen some in one of the barns, like just sitting over, like off to the side, like having a bunch of like junk in it, basically, like old vaults or whatever. But yeah, we could definitely take one of those and maybe rig something up. Who knows?
Yeah.
I just gotta
Nice.
get the camera first.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But yeah.
Well, I hope you guys definitely find some when you get together in March or April. I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have some
Yeah.
fun.
Oh yeah. If we can't go live, I'll definitely be recording a bunch of stuff and then, making some kind of video afterwards. So one way or the other,
Yeah.
Awesome.
you guys will be able to see it. So
Oh
I
yeah.
really look forward to that.
We could even do a show together and talk about it and show the video and talk about what was going on or whatever during it.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on today, and like Paul
Mhm.
hanging out too. It was cool to see that our
Yeah.
surprise guest. I've been telling everyone we got a surprise guest all night. They're like, "Who is
That's
it?"
right.
Sorry to disappoint you all, but it was just me.
No, I was
No.
excited.
Yeah.
St. Louis
always
finest.
always excited to talk with you guys, and Bryce, you're an awesome dude, and Bigfoot Fade's
Thank you.
awesome. Always awesome to talk to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of people. All the comments in chat. I can't respond to them, but I saw everybody in chat, and so just hi everybody. So sorry.
Yeah, thanks everyone for hanging out. I definitely like talking about tools and equipment and stuff. So I'm like, we got to
Yeah.
capture more of these guys, Let's see what they're
Right.
all about.
Right.
Yeah, this
But,
year
yeah.
I'm going to be hitting it hard out there, so hopefully I'll have a lot of more stuff to talk about with you guys.
I'm excited for you.
Yeah, it's
That's
going to be
awesome.
fun.
Yeah, I like supporting other channels too. So I'm just kind of out here. I just want to learn more about them and everything. So I like seeing guys like you get out there. And like I was telling Bryce yesterday, I was like, yeah, I'm here to help you guys if you need it. And any questions on how to do all YouTube or anything, I'm here to, if you got questions.
Oh
So,
yeah, I'll have
Yeah.
questions getting that thing off the ground because it's going to be cool once it gets going though. Because like I said, I'm going to get the GoPro and all that and get out there and just put every video I have up there and see what I find and see if somebody else sees
Awesome.
something in it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, and then Paul, your next show is Tuesday.
Tuesday
you got-
night, I have the guys from Paranormal 411 coming on. They're going to show some videos of some of the investigations that they've done. And then Wednesday, I have Brian Fuller on Wednesday night, another Bigfoot squatcher. So,
Oh,
Yeah, I'm friends
exciting.
with him on Facebook.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
Well, I
he's
look
got some
forward
cool
to
stuff.
that.
yeah. So, yeah,
So,
that'll be
Paul,
fun.
you're doing-
That'll be fun.
Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays now. That's your schedule.
Yep. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Fridays.
Awesome.
Nice.
Well, yeah, definitely check out Paranormal Paul. I think everyone in here already follows you. They're mostly everyone is already following you first. But if not, definitely check him out. He's awesome.
And make
One of
sure
my
you
favorites.
subscribe here too. Make sure.
Yes,
Yes.
and hit the bell.
Yep.
Hit the
that
bell.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. And yeah, go Super Bowl Sunday.
Thanks, Blaze.
That was a
Yeah,
lot
That's
of
right.
fun.
Right.
Yeah, thanks
All
for
right.
having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Thanks.
you're welcome. Thank you. Bye, guys.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Licks in the tree line, a silhouette dark, searching for prints and a mystical spark. Climbing the ridgeline where the air gets thin. The hunt for the legend is about to begin. Chasing the legend through a neon haze, lost in the woods for nights and days. The signal is peaking, the truth won't fade. Hunting the wild with Bigfoot face. Thank you for watching the Bigfoot Fades show, where untold stories are heard.